Bible World English Jeremiah. Contents. Chapter 1 Edit. The words of Jeremiah the son of Hilkiah, of the priests who were in Anathoth in the land of Benjamin, to whom the word of Yahweh came in the days of Josiah the son of Amon, king of Judah, in the 13th year of his reign. It came also in the days of Jehoiakim the son of Josiah, king of Judah, to the end of the 11th year of Zedekiah the son of Josiah, king of Judah, to the carrying away of Jerusalem captive in the 5th month. Now the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Before I formed you in the belly, I knew you. Before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified you. I have appointed you a prophet to the nations. Then I said, Ah, Lord Yahweh. Behold, I don't know how to speak, for I am a child. But Yahweh said to me, Don't say, I am a child, for to whoever I shall send you, you shall go, and whatever I shall command you, you shall speak. Don't be afraid because of them, for I am with you to deliver you, says Yahweh. Then Yahweh put forth his hand, and touched my mouth, and Yahweh said to me, Behold, I have put my words in your mouth. Behold, I have this day set you over the nations and over the kingdoms, to pluck up and to break down and to destroy and to overthrow, to build and to plant. Moreover the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Jeremiah, what do you see? I said, I see a branch of an almond tree. Then said Yahweh to me, You have seen well, for I watch over my word to perform it. The word of Yahweh came to me the second time, saying, What do you see? I said, I see a boiling cauldron, and it is tipping away from the north. Then Yahweh said to me, Out of the north evil will break out on all the inhabitants of the land. For, behold, I will call all the families of the kingdoms of the north, says Yahweh, and they shall come, and they shall each set his throne at the entrance of the gates of Jerusalem, and against all its walls all around, and against all the cities of Judah. I will utter my judgments against them touching all their wickedness, in that they have forsaken me, and have burned incense to other gods, and worshipped the works of their own hands. You therefore gird up your waist, and arise, and speak to them all that I command you. Don't be dismayed at them, lest I dismay you before them. For, behold, I have made you this day a fortified city, and an iron pillar, and bronze walls, against the whole land, against the kings of Judah, against its princes, against its priests, and against the people of the land. They will fight against you, but they will not prevail against you, for I am with you, says Yahweh, to deliver you. Chapter 2 Edit. The word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Go, and cry in the ears of Jerusalem, saying, Thus says Yahweh, I remember for you the kindness of your youth, the love of your weddings, how you went after me in the wilderness, in a land that was not sown. Israel was holiness to Yahweh, the firstfruits of his increase. All who devour him shall be held guilty. Evil shall come on him, says Yahweh. Hear the word of Yahweh, O house of Jacob, and all the families of the house of Israel. Thus says Yahweh, What unrighteousness have your fathers found in me, that they have gone far from me, and have walked after vanity, and have become vain? Neither did they say, Where is Yahweh who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, who led us through the wilderness, through a land of deserts and of pits, through a land of drought and of the shadow of death, through a land that none passed through, and where no man lived. I brought you into a plentiful land, to eat its fruit and its goodness, but when you entered, you defiled my land, and made my heritage an abomination. The priests didn't say, Where is Yahweh, and those who handle the law didn't know me. The rulers also transgressed against me, and the prophets prophesied by Baal, and walked after things that do not profit. Therefore I will yet contend with you, says Yahweh, and I will contend with your children's children. For pass over to the islands of Kittim, and see, and send to Kedar, and consider diligently, and see if there has been such a thing. Has a nation changed its gods, which really are no gods? But my people have changed their glory for that which does not profit. Be astonished, you heavens, at this, and be horribly afraid. Be very desolate, says Yahweh. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the spring of living waters, and cut them out cisterns, broken cisterns, that can hold no water. Is Israel a servant? Is he a native-born slave? Why has he become a prey? The young lions have roared at him, and yelled. They have made his land waste. His cities are burned up, without inhabitant. The children also of Memphis and Talpanas have broken the crown of your head. Haven't you procured this to yourself, in that you have forsaken Yahweh your God, when he led you by the way? Now what have you to do in the way to Egypt, to drink the waters of the Shihor? Or what have you to do in the way to Assyria, to drink the waters of the river? Your own wickedness shall correct you, and your backsliding shall reprove you. Know therefore and see that it is an evil thing and a bitter, that you have forsaken Yahweh your God, and that my fear is not in you, says the Lord, Yahweh of armies. For of old time I have broken your yoke, and burst your bonds, and you said, I will not serve, for on every high hill and under every green tree you bowed yourself, playing the prostitute. Yet I had planted your noble vine, holy a right seed. How then have you turned into the degenerate branches of a foreign vine to me? For though you wash yourself with lye, and use much soap, yet your iniquity is much before me, says the Lord Yahweh. How can you say, I am not defiled? I have not gone after the Baals. See your way in the valley. Know what you have done. You are a swift dromedary traversing her ways, a wild donkey used to the wilderness, that snuffs up the wind in her desire. When she is in heat, who can turn her away? All those who seek her will not weary themselves. In her month, they will find her. Withhold your foot from being unshod, and your throat from thirst. But you said, It is in vain. No, for I have loved strangers, and I will go after them, as the thief is ashamed when he is found, so is the house of Israel ashamed, they, their kings, their princes, and their priests, and their prophets, who tell wood. You are my father, and a stone, you have brought me out, for they have turned their back to me, and not their face, but in the time of their trouble they will say, Arise, and save us. But where are your gods that you have made for yourselves? Let them arise, if they can save you in the time of your trouble, for according to the number of your cities are your gods, Judah. Why will you contend with me? You will have transgressed against me, says Yahweh. I have struck your children in vain. They received no correction. Your own sword has devoured your prophets, like a destroying lion. Generation, consider the word of Yahweh. Have I been a wilderness to Israel? Or a land of thick darkness? Why do my people say, we have broken loose? We will come to you no more. Can a virgin forget her ornaments, or a bride her attire? Yet my people have forgotten me for days without number. How well you prepare your way to seek love. Therefore you have taught even the wicked women your ways. Also the blood of the souls of the innocent poor is found in your skirts. You did not find them breaking in, but it is because of all these things. Yet you said, I am innocent. Surely his anger has turned away from me. Behold, I will judge you, because you say, I have not sinned. Why do you go about so much to change your way? You will be ashamed of Egypt also, as you were ashamed of Assyria. From there also you shall go forth with your hands on your head, for Yahweh has rejected those in whom you trust, and you shall not prosper with them. Chapter 3, Edit. They say, if a man puts away his wife, and she goes from him, and become another man's, will he return to her again? Wouldn't that land be greatly polluted? But you have played the prostitute with many lovers, yet return again to me, says Yahweh. Lift up your eyes to the bare heights, and see. Where have you not been lain with? You have sat for them by the ways, as an Arabian in the wilderness. You have polluted the land with your prostitution and with your wickedness. Therefore the showers have been withheld, and there has been no latter rain, yet you have a prostitute's forehead, you refuse to be ashamed. Will you not from this time cry to me, my father, you are the guide of my youth? Will he retain his anger forever? Will he keep it to the end? Behold, you have spoken and have done evil things, and have had your way. Moreover, Yahweh said to me in the days of Josiah the king, have you seen that which backsliding Israel has done? She has gone up on every high mountain and under every green tree, and there has played the prostitute. I said after she had done all these things, she will return to me, but she didn't return, and her treacherous sister Judah saw it. I saw, when, for this very cause that backsliding Israel had committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce, yet treacherous Judah, her sister, didn't fear, but she also went and played the prostitute. It happened through the likeness of her prostitution, that the land was polluted, and she committed adultery with stones and with stocks. Yet for all this her treacherous sister, Judah, has not returned to me with her whole heart, but only in pretense, says Yahweh. Yahweh said to me, backsliding Israel has shown herself more righteous than treacherous Judah. Go, and proclaim these words toward the north, and say, Return, you backsliding Israel, says Yahweh, I will not look in anger on you, for I am merciful, says Yahweh. I will not keep anger forever. Only acknowledge your iniquity, that you have transgressed against Yahweh your God, and have scattered your ways to the strangers under every green tree, and you have not obeyed my voice, says Yahweh. Return, backsliding children, says Yahweh, for I am a husband to you. I will take you one of a city, and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion. I will give you shepherds according to my heart, who shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. It shall come to pass, when you are multiplied and increased in the land, in those days, says Yahweh, they shall say no more, the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, neither shall it come to mind, neither shall they remember it. Neither shall they miss it, neither shall it be made any more. At that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of Yahweh, and all the nations shall be gathered to it, to the name of Yahweh, to Jerusalem. Neither shall they walk any more after the stubbornness of their evil heart. In those days the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I gave for an inheritance to your fathers. But I said, how I would put you among the children, and give you a pleasant land, a goodly heritage of the armies of the nations, and I said, you shall call me, my father, and shall not turn away from following me. Surely as a wife treacherously departs from her husband, so you have dealt treacherously with me, house of Israel, says Yahweh. A voice is heard on the bare heights, the weeping and the petitions of the children of Israel, because they have perverted their way, they have forgotten Yahweh their God. Return, you backsliding children, I will heal your backsliding. Behold, we have come to you, for you are Yahweh our God. Truly in vain is the help that is looked for from the hills, the tumult on the mountains. Truly the salvation of Israel is in Yahweh our God. But the shameful thing has devoured the labor of our fathers from our youth, their flocks and their herds, their sons and their daughters. Let us lie down in our shame, and let our confusion cover us, for we have sinned against Yahweh our God, we and our fathers, from our youth even to this day. We have not obeyed the voice of Yahweh our God. Chapter 4, Edit. If you will return, Israel, says Yahweh, if you will return to me, and if you will put away your abominations out of my sight, then you shall not be removed, and you shall swear, as Yahweh lives, in truth, in justice, and in righteousness. The nations shall bless themselves in him, and in him shall they glory. For thus says Yahweh to the men of Judah and to Jerusalem, break up your fallow ground, and don't sow among thorns. Circumcise yourselves to Yahweh, and take away the foreskins of your heart, you men of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my wrath go forth like fire, and burn so that none can quench it, because of the evil of your doings. Declare in Judah, and publish in Jerusalem, and say, blow the trumpet in the land, cry aloud and say, reassemble yourselves. Let us go into the fortified cities, set up a standard toward Zion. Flee for safety. Don't wait, for I will bring evil from the north, and a great destruction. A lion is gone up from his thicket, and a destroyer of nations, he is on his way, he is gone forth from his place, to make your land desolate, that your cities be laid waste without inhabitant. For this gird yourself with sackcloth, lament and wail, for the fierce anger of Yahweh hasn't turned back from us. It shall happen at that day, says Yahweh, that the heart of the king shall perish, and the heart of the princes and the priests shall be astonished, and the prophets shall wonder. Then I said, Ah, Lord Yahweh, surely you have greatly deceived this people in Jerusalem, saying, you shall have peace, whereas the sword reaches to the heart. At that time shall it be said to this people and to Jerusalem, a hot wind from the bare heights in the wilderness toward the daughter of my people, not to winnow, nor to cleanse, a full wind from these shall come for me. Now I will also utter judgments against them. Behold, he shall come up as clouds, and his chariots shall be as the whirlwind, his horses are swifter than eagles. Woe to us, for we are ruined. Jerusalem, wash your heart from wickedness, that you may be saved. How long shall your evil thoughts lodge within you? For a voice declares from Dan, and publishers evil from the hills of Ephraim, tell the nations, behold, publish against Jerusalem, watchers come from a far country, and raise their voice against the cities of Judah. As keepers of a field, they are against her all around, because she has been rebellious against me, says Yahweh. Your way and your doings have brought these things to you. This is your wickedness, for it is bitter, for it reaches to your heart. My anguish, my anguish. I am pained at my very heart, my heart is disquieted in me, I can't hold my peace, because you have heard, O my soul, the sound of the trumpet, the alarm of war. Destruction on destruction is cried, for the whole land is laid waste, suddenly are my tents destroyed, and my curtains in a moment. How long shall I see the standard, and hear the sound of the trumpet? For my people are foolish, they don't know me. They are foolish children, and they have no understanding. They are skillful in doing evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. I saw the earth, and, behold, it was waste and void, and the heavens, and they had no light. I saw the mountains, and behold, they trembled, and all the hills moved back and forth. I saw, and behold, there was no man, and all the birds of the sky had fled. I saw, and behold, the fruitful field was a wilderness, and all its cities were broken down at the presence of Yahweh, and before his fierce anger. For thus says Yahweh, the whole land shall be a desolation, yet will I not make a full end. For this the earth will mourn, and the heavens above be black, because I have spoken it, I have purposed it, and I have not repented, neither will I turn back from it. Every city flees for the noise of the horsemen and archers, they go into the thickets, and climb up on the rocks, every city is forsaken, and not a man dwells therein. You, when you are made desolate, what will you do? Though you clothe yourself with scarlet, though you deck you with ornaments of gold, though you enlarge your eyes with paint, in vain do you make yourself beautiful, your lovers despise you, they seek your life. For I have heard a voice as of a woman in travail, the anguish as of her who brings forth her first child, the voice of the daughter of Zion, who gasps for breath, who spreads her hands, saying, Woe is me now! For my soul faints before the murderers. Chapter 5 Edit. Run back and forth through the streets of Jerusalem, and see now, and know, and seek in the broad places of it, if you can find a man, if there are any who does justly, who seeks truth, and I will pardon her. Though they say, As Yahweh lives, surely they swear falsely. O Yahweh, don't your eyes look on truth? You have stricken them, but they were not grieved. You have consumed them, but they have refused to receive correction. They have made their faces harder than a rock. They have refused to return. Then I said, Surely these are poor. They are foolish, for they don't know the way of Yahweh, nor the law of their God. I will go to the great men, and will speak to them, for they know the way of Yahweh, and the law of their God. But these with one accord have broken the yoke, and burst the bonds. Therefore a lion out of the forest shall kill them, a wolf of the evenings shall destroy them, a leopard shall watch against their cities, everyone who goes out there shall be torn in pieces, because their transgressions are many, and their backsliding is increased. How can I pardon you? Your children have forsaken me, and sworn by what are no gods. When I had fed them to the full, they committed adultery, and assembled themselves in troops at the prostitutes' houses. They were as fed horses roaming at large, everyone neighed after his neighbor's wife. Shouldn't I punish them for these things, says Yahweh, and shouldn't my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? Go up on her walls, and destroy, but don't make a full end. Take away her branches, for they are not Yahweh's. For the house of Israel and the house of Judah have dealt very treacherously against me, says Yahweh. They have denied Yahweh, and said, It is not he, neither shall evil come on us, neither shall we see sword nor famine. The prophets shall become wind, and the word is not in them. Thus shall it be done to them. Therefore thus says Yahweh, the God of armies, because you speak this word, behold, I will make my words in your mouth fire, and this people wood, and it shall devour them. Behold, I will bring a nation on you from far, house of Israel, says Yahweh. It is a mighty nation. It is an ancient nation, a nation whose language you don't know, neither understand what they say. Their quiver is an open tomb, they are almighty men. They shall eat up your harvest, and your bread, which your sons and your daughters should eat. They shall eat up your flocks and your herds. They shall eat up your vines and your fig trees. They shall beat down your fortified cities, in which you trust, with the sword. But even in those days, says Yahweh, I will not make a full end with you. It will happen, when you say, why has Yahweh our God done all these things to us? Then you shall say to them, just like you have forsaken me, and serve foreign gods in your land. So you shall serve strangers in a land that is not yours. Declare this in the house of Jacob, and publish it in Judah, saying, hear now this, foolish people, and without understanding, who have eyes, and don't see, who have ears, and don't hear. Don't you fear me, says Yahweh, won't you tremble at my presence? Who have placed the sand for the bound of the sea, by a perpetual decree, that it can't pass it? And though its waves toss themselves, yet they can't prevail, though they roar, yet they can't pass over it. But this people has a revolting and a rebellious heart, they have revolted and gone. Neither do they say in their heart, let us now fear Yahweh our God, who gives rain, both the former and the latter, in its season, who preserves to us the appointed weeks of the harvest. Your iniquities have turned away these things, and your sins have withheld good from you. For among my people are found wicked men. They watch, as fowlers lie in wait. They set a trap, they catch men. As a cage is full of birds, so are their houses full of deceit. Therefore they have become great, and grew rich. They have grown fat, they shine, yes, they excel in deeds of wickedness. They don't plead the cause of the fatherless, that they may prosper, and they don't judge the right of the needy. Shall I not punish for these things, says Yahweh? Shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? An astonishing and horrible thing has happened in the land. The prophets prophesy falsely, and the priests rule by their own authority, and my people love to have it so. What will you do in the end of it? Chapter 6, edit. Flee for safety, you children of Benjamin, out of the midst of Jerusalem, and blow the trumpet in Tekoa, and raise up a signal on Beth-Hakkerem, for evil looks forth from the north, and a great destruction. The comely and delicate one, the daughter of Zion, will I cut off. Shepherds with their flocks shall come to her, they shall pitch their tents against her all around, they shall feed everyone in his place. Prepare war against her, arise, and let us go up at noon. Woe to us, for the day declines, for the shadows of the evening are stretched out. Arise, and let us go up by night, and let us destroy her palaces. For Yahweh of armies said, cut down trees, and cast up a mound against Jerusalem. This is the city to be visited, she is holy oppression in the midst of her. As a well casts forth its waters, so she casts forth her wickedness, violence and destruction is heard in her, before me continually is sickness and wounds. Be instructed, Jerusalem, lest my soul be alienated from you, lest I make you a desolation, a land not inhabited. Thus says Yahweh of armies, they shall thoroughly glean the remnant of Israel like a vine. Turn again your hand as a grape gatherer into the baskets. To whom shall I speak and testify, that they may hear? Behold, their ear is uncircumcised, and they can't listen. Behold, the word of Yahweh has become a reproach to them. They have no delight in it. Therefore I am full of the wrath of Yahweh. I am weary with holding in. Pour it out on the children in the street, and on the assembly of young men together, for even the husband with the wife shall be taken, the aged with him who is full of days. Their houses shall be turned to others. Their fields and their wives together, for I will stretch out my hand on the inhabitants of the land, says Yahweh, for from the least of them even to the greatest of them, everyone is given to covetousness. And from the prophet even to the priest, everyone deals falsely. They have healed also the hurt of my people superficially, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace. Were they ashamed when they had committed abomination? No, they were not at all ashamed, neither could they blush. Therefore they shall fall among those who fall, at the time that I visit them, they shall be cast down, says Yahweh. Thus says Yahweh, stand in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk in it, and you will find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk in it. I set watchmen over you, saying, listen to the sound of the trumpet. But they said, we will not listen. Therefore hear, you nations, and know, congregation, what is among them. Hear, earth. Behold, I will bring evil on this people, even the fruit of their thoughts, because they have not listened to my words, and as for my law, they have rejected it. To what purpose comes there to me frankincense from Sheba, and the sweet cane from a far country? Your burnt offerings are not acceptable, nor your sacrifices pleasing to me. Therefore thus says Yahweh, behold, I will lay stumbling blocks before this people, and the fathers and the sons together shall stumble against them, the neighbor and his friend shall perish. Thus says Yahweh, behold, a people comes from the north country, and a great nation shall be stirred up from the uttermost parts of the earth. They lay hold on bow and spear, they are cruel, and have no mercy, their voice roars like the sea, and they ride on horses, everyone set in array, as a man to the battle, against you, daughter of Zion. We have heard its report, our hands wax feeble, anguish has taken hold of us, and pangs as of a woman in travail. Don't go forth into the field, nor walk by the way, for the sword of the enemy, and terror, are on every side. Daughter of my people, gird yourself with sackcloth, and wallow in ashes. Mourn, as for an only son, most bitter lamentation, for the destroyer shall suddenly come on us. I have made you a tester of metals and a fortress among my people, that ye may know and try their way. They are all grievous rebels, going about with slanders, they are brass and iron, they all of them deal corruptly. The bellows blow fiercely, the leaders consumed with the fire, in vain do they go on refining, for the wicked are not plucked away. Men will call them rejected silver, because Yahweh has rejected them. Chapter 7, Edit. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, Stand in the gate of Yahweh's house, and proclaim there this word, and say, Hear the word of Yahweh, all you of Judah, who enter in at these gates to worship Yahweh. Thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, amend your ways and your doings, and I will cause you to dwell in this place. Don't trust in lying words, saying, The temple of Yahweh, the temple of Yahweh, the temple of Yahweh are these. For if you thoroughly amend your ways and your doings, if you thoroughly execute justice between a man and his neighbor, if you don't oppress the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow, and don't shed innocent blood in this place, neither walk after other gods to your own hurt, then will I cause you to dwell in this place, in the land that I gave to your fathers, from of old even forevermore. Behold, you trust in lying words, that can't profit. Will you steal, murder, and commit adultery, and swear falsely, and burn incense to Baal, and walk after other gods that you have not known, and come and stand before me in this house, which is called by my name, and say, We are delivered? That ye may do all these abominations. Is this house, which is called by my name, become a den of robbers in your eyes? Behold, even I, have seen it, says Yahweh. But go now to my place which was in Shiloh, where I caused my name to dwell at the first, and see what I did to it for the wickedness of my people Israel. Now, because you have done all these works, says Yahweh, and I spoke to you, rising up early and speaking, but you didn't hear, and I called you, but you didn't answer, therefore will I do to the house which is called by my name, in which you trust, and to the place which I gave to you and to your fathers, as I did to Shiloh. I will cast you out of my sight, as I have cast out all your brothers, even the whole seed of Ephraim. Therefore don't pray for this people, neither lift up a cry nor prayer for them, neither make intercession to me, for I will not hear you. Don't you see what they do in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead the dough, to make cakes to the queen of the sky, and to pour out drink offerings to other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. Do they provoke me to anger? Says Yahweh. Do they not provoke themselves, to the confusion of their own faces? Therefore thus says the Lord Yahweh, Behold, my anger and my wrath shall be poured out on this place, on man, and on animal, and on the trees of the field, and on the fruit of the ground, and it shall burn, and shall not be quenched. Thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, Add your burnt offerings to your sacrifices, and eat meat. For I didn't speak to your fathers, nor command them in the day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt, concerning burnt offerings or sacrifices, but this thing I commanded them, saying, Listen to my voice, and I will be your God. And you shall be my people, and walk in all the way that I command you, that it may be well with you. But they didn't listen nor turn their ear, but walked in their own counsels and in the stubbornness of their evil heart, and went backward, and not forward. Since the day that your fathers came forth out of the land of Egypt to this day, I have sent to you all my servants the prophets, daily rising up early and sending them, yet they didn't listen to me, nor inclined their ear, but made their neck stiff. They did worse than their fathers. You shall speak all these words to them, but they will not listen to you. You shall also call to them, but they will not answer you. You shall tell them, This is the nation that has not listened to the voice of Yahweh their God, nor received instruction. Truth is perished, and is cut off from their mouth. Cut off your hair, Jerusalem, and cast it away, and take up a lamentation on the bare heights, for Yahweh has rejected and forsaken the generation of his wrath. For the children of Judah have done that which is evil in my sight, says Yahweh. They have set their abominations in the house which is called by my name, to defile it. They have built the high places of Topheth, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to burn their sons and their daughters in the fire, which I didn't command, nor did it come into my mind. Therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that it shall no more be called Topheth, nor the valley of the son of Hinnom, but the valley of slaughter, for they shall bury in Topheth, until there be no place to bury. The dead bodies of this people shall be food for the birds of the sky, and for the animals of the earth, and none shall frighten them away. Then will I cause to cease from the cities of Judah, and from the streets of Jerusalem, the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, for the land shall become a waste. Chapter 8, Edit. At that time, says Yahweh, they shall bring out the bones of the kings of Judah, and the bones of his princes, and the bones of the priests, and the bones of the prophets, and the bones of the inhabitants of Jerusalem, out of their graves, and they shall spread him before the sun, and the moon, and all the army of the sky, which they have loved, and which they have served, and after which they have walked, and which they have sought, and which they have worshipped. They shall not be gathered, nor be buried, they shall be for dung on the surface of the earth. Death shall be chosen rather than life by all the residue that remain of this evil family, that remain in all the places where I have driven them, says Yahweh of armies. Moreover you shall tell them, Thus says Yahweh, Shall men fall, and not rise up again? Shall one turn away, and not return? Why then is this people of Jerusalem slidden back by a perpetual backsliding? They hold fast deceit, they refuse to return. I listened and heard, but they didn't speak aright. No man repents him of his wickedness, saying, What have I done? Everyone turns to his course, as a horse that rushes headlong in the battle. Yes, the stork in the sky knows her appointed times, and the turtle dove and the swallow and the crane observe the time of their coming, but my people don't know Yahweh's law. How do you say, we are wise, and the law of Yahweh is with us? But, behold, the false pen of the scribes has worked falsely. The wise men are disappointed, they are dismayed and taken, behold, they have rejected the word of Yahweh, and what manner of wisdom is in him? Therefore will I give their wives to others, and their fields to those who shall possess them, for everyone from the least even to the greatest is given to covetousness, from the prophet even to the priest every one deals falsely. They have healed the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly, saying, Peace, peace, when there is no peace. Were they ashamed when they had committed abomination? Nay, they were not at all ashamed, neither could they blush. Therefore shall they fall among those who fall. In the time of their visitation they shall be cast down, says Yahweh. I will utterly consume them, says Yahweh. There shall be no grapes on the vine, nor figs on the fig tree, and the leaf shall fade, and the things that I have given them shall pass away from them. Why do we sit still? Assemble yourselves, and let us enter into the fortified cities, and let us be silent there, for Yahweh our God has put us to silence, and given us water of gall to drink, because we have sinned against Yahweh. We looked for peace, but no good came, and for a time of healing, and behold, dismay. The snorting of his horses is heard from Dan, at the sound of the neighing of his strong ones the whole land trembles, for they are come, and have devoured the land and all that is in it, the city and those who dwell therein. For, behold, I will send serpents, adders, among you, which will not be charmed, and they shall bite you, says Yahweh. Oh that I could comfort myself against sorrow. My heart is faint within me. Behold, the voice of the cry of the daughter of my people from a land that is very far off. Isn't Yahweh in Zion? Isn't her king in her? Why have they provoked me to anger with their engraved images, and with foreign vanities? The harvest is past, the summer is ended, and we are not saved. For the hurt of the daughter of my people am I hurt, I mourn, dismay has taken hold on me. Is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? Why then isn't the health of the daughter of my people recovered? Chapter 9, Edit. Oh that my head were waters, and my eyes a spring of tears, that I might weep day and night for the slain of the daughter of my people. Oh that I had in the wilderness a lodging place of wayfaring men, that I might leave my people, and go from them, for they are all adulterers, an assembly of treacherous men. They bend their tongue, as it were their bow, for falsehood, and they are grown strong in the land, but not for truth, for they proceed from evil to evil, and they don't know me, says Yahweh. Take heed every one of his neighbor, and don't trust in any brother, for every brother will utterly supplant, and every neighbor will go about with slanders. They will deceive everyone his neighbor, and will not speak the truth. They have taught their tongue to speak lies, they weary themselves to commit iniquity. Your habitation is in the midst of deceit, through deceit they refuse to know me, says Yahweh. Therefore thus says Yahweh of armies, behold, I will melt them, and try them, for how else should I do, because of the daughter of my people? Their tongue is a deadly arrow, it speaks deceit, one speaks peaceably to his neighbor with his mouth, but in his heart he lays wait for him. Shall I not visit them for these things? Says Yahweh, shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? For the mountains will I take up a weeping and wailing, and for the pastures of the wilderness a lamentation, because they are burned up, so that none passes through, neither can men hear the voice of the livestock. Both the birds of the sky and the animals are fled, they are gone. I will make Jerusalem heaps, a dwelling place of jackals, and I will make the cities of Judah a desolation, without inhabitant. Who is the wise man, that may understand this? And who is he to whom the mouth of Yahweh has spoken, that he may declare it? Why is the land purged and burned up like a wilderness, so that none passes through? Yahweh says, because they have forsaken my law which I set before them, and have not obeyed my voice, neither walked therein, but have walked after the stubbornness of their own heart, and after the Baals which their fathers taught them. Therefore thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, behold, I will feed them, even this people, with wormwood, and give them water of gall to drink. I will scatter them also among the nations, whom neither they nor their fathers have known, and I will send the sword after them, until I have consumed them. Thus says Yahweh of armies, consider, and call for the mourning women, that they may come, and send for the skillful women, that they may come, and let them make haste, and take up a wailing for us. That our eyes may run down with tears, and our eyelids gush out with waters. For a voice of wailing is heard out of Zion, how are we ruined, we are greatly confounded, because we have forsaken the land, because they have cast down our dwellings. Yet hear the word of Yahweh, you women, and let your ear receive the word of his mouth, and teach your daughters wailing, and everyone her neighbor lamentation. For death is come up into our windows, it is entered into our palaces, to cut off the children from outside, and the young men from the streets. Speak, thus says Yahweh, the dead bodies of men shall fall as dung on the open field, and as the handful after the harvester, and none shall gather them. Thus says Yahweh, don't let the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might, don't let the rich man glory in his riches, but let him who glories glory in this, that he has understanding, and knows me. That I am Yahweh who exercises loving kindness, justice, and righteousness, in the earth, for in these things I delight, says Yahweh. Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will punish all those who are circumcised in their uncircumcision, Egypt, and Judah, and Edom, and the children of Ammon, and Moab, and all that have the corners of their hair cut off. Who dwell in the wilderness, for all the nations are uncircumcised, and all the house of Israel are uncircumcised in heart. Chapter 10, Edit. hear the word which Yahweh speaks to you, house of Israel. Thus says Yahweh, don't learn the way of the nations, and don't be dismayed at the signs of the sky, for the nations are dismayed at them. For the customs of the peoples are vanity, for one cuts a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold, they fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it not move. They are like a palm tree, of turned work, and don't speak, they must be carried, because they can't go. Don't be afraid of them, for they can't do evil, neither is it in them to do good. There is none like you, Yahweh, you are great, and your name is great in might. Who should not fear you, King of the nations? For it appertains to you, because among all the wise men of the nations, and in all their royal estate, there is none like you. But they are together brutish and foolish, the instruction of idols. It is but a stock. There is silver beaten into plates, which is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Upaz, the work of the artificer and of the hand of the goldsmith, blue and purple for their clothing, they are all the work of skillful men. But Yahweh is the true God, he is the living God, and an everlasting King, at his wrath the earth trembles, and the nations are not able to abide his indignation. You shall say this to them, the gods that have not made the heavens and the earth, these shall perish from the earth, and from under the heavens. He has made the earth by his power, he has established the world by his wisdom, and by his understanding has he stretched out the heavens. When he utters his voice, there is a tumult of waters in the heavens. And he causes the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth, he makes lightnings for the rain, and brings forth the wind out of his treasuries. Every man is become brutish and is without knowledge, every goldsmith is disappointed by his engraved image, for his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in him. They are vanity, a work of delusion, in the time of their visitation they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like these, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the tribe of his inheritance, Yahweh of armies is his name. Gather up your wares out of the land, you who abide in a siege. For thus says Yahweh, behold, I will sling out the inhabitants of the land at this time, and will distress them, that they may feel it. Woe is me because of my hurt. My wound is grievous, but I said, truly this is my grief, and I must bear it. My tent is destroyed, and all my cords are broken, my children are gone forth from me, and they are no more, there is none to spread my tent any more, and to set up my curtains. For the shepherds are become brutish, and have not inquired of Yahweh, therefore they have not prospered, and all their flocks are scattered. The voice of news, behold, it comes, and a great commotion out of the north country, to make the cities of Judah a desolation, a dwelling place of jackals. Yahweh, I know that the way of man is not in himself, it is not in man who walks to direct his steps. Yahweh, correct me, but in measure, not in your anger, lest you bring me to nothing. Pour out your wrath on the nations that don't know you, and on the families that don't call on your name, for they have devoured Jacob, yes, they have devoured him and consumed him, and have laid waste his habitation. Chapter 11, Edit. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, hear the words of this covenant, and speak to the men of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and say to them, thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel. Cursed is the man who doesn't hear the words of this covenant, which I commanded your fathers in the day that I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the iron furnace, saying, obey my voice, and do them. According to all which I command you, so you shall be my people, and I will be your God, that I may establish the oath which I swore to your fathers, to give them a land flowing with milk and honey, as at this day. Then answered I, and said, Amen, Yahweh. Yahweh said to me, proclaim all these words in the cities of Judah, and in the streets of Jerusalem, saying, hear the words of this covenant, and do them. For I earnestly protested to your fathers in the day that I brought them up out of the land of Egypt, even to this day, rising early and protesting, saying, obey my voice. Yet they didn't obey, nor turn their ear, but walked everyone in the stubbornness of their evil heart. Therefore I brought on them all the words of this covenant, which I commanded them to do, but they didn't do them. Yahweh said to me, a conspiracy is found among the men of Judah, and among the inhabitants of Jerusalem. They have turned back to the iniquities of their forefathers, who refused to hear my words, and they have gone after other gods to serve them. The house of Israel and the house of Judah have broken my covenant which I made with their fathers. Therefore thus says Yahweh, behold, I will bring evil on them, which they shall not be able to escape, and they shall cry to me, but I will not listen to them. Then shall the cities of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem go and cry to the gods to which they offer incense, but they will not save them at all in the time of their trouble. For according to the number of your cities are your gods, Judah, and according to the number of the streets of Jerusalem have you set up altars to the shameful thing, even altars to burn incense to Baal. Therefore don't pray for this people, neither lift up cry nor prayer for them, for I will not hear them in the time that they cry to me because of their trouble. What has my beloved to do in my house, seeing she has worked lewdness with many, and the holy flesh is passed from you? When you do evil, then you rejoice. Yahweh called your name, a green olive tree, beautiful with goodly fruit, with the noise of a great tumult he has kindled fire on it, and its branches are broken. For Yahweh of armies, who planted you, has pronounced evil against you, because of the evil of the house of Israel and of the house of Judah, which they have worked for themselves in provoking me to anger by offering incense to Baal. Yahweh gave me knowledge of it, and I knew it, then you showed me their doings. But I was like a gentle lamb that is led to the slaughter, and I didn't know that they had devised devices against me, saying, let us destroy the tree with its fruit, and let us cut him off from the land of the living, that his name may be no more remembered. But, Yahweh of armies, who judges righteously, who tests the heart and the mind, I shall see your vengeance on 'em, for to you have I revealed my cause. Therefore thus says Yahweh concerning the men of Anathoth, who seek your life, saying, You shall not prophesy in the name of Yahweh, that you not die by our hand. Therefore thus says Yahweh of armies, Behold, I will punish them. The young men shall die by the sword, their sons and their daughters shall die by famine, and there shall be no remnant to them, for I will bring evil on the men of Anathoth, even the year of their visitation. Chapter 12 Edit. You were righteous, Yahweh, when I contend with you, yet I would reason the cause with you. Why does the way of the wicked prosper? Why are all they at ease who deal very treacherously? You have planted them, yes, they have taken root, they grow, yes, they bring forth fruit, you are near in their mouth and far from their heart. But you, Yahweh, know me, you see me, and try my heart toward you, pull them out like sheep for the slaughter, and prepare them for the day of slaughter. How long shall the land mourn, and the herbs of the whole country wither? For the wickedness of those who dwell therein, the animals are consumed, and the birds, because they said, He shall not see our latter end. If you have run with the footmen, and they have wearied you, then how can you contend with horses? And though in a land of peace you are secure, yet how will you do in the pride of the Jordan? For even your brothers, in the house of your father, even they have dealt treacherously with you, even they have cried aloud after you, don't believe them, though they speak beautiful words to you. I have forsaken my house, I have cast off my heritage, I have given the dearly beloved of my soul into the hand of her enemies. My heritage is become to me as a lion in the forest, she has uttered her voice against me, therefore I have hated her. Is my heritage to me as a speckled bird of prey? Are the birds of prey against her all around? Go, assemble all the animals of the field, bring them to devour. Many shepherds have destroyed my vineyard, they have trodden my portion underfoot, they have made my pleasant portion a desolate wilderness. They have made it a desolation, it mourns to me, being desolate, the whole land is made desolate, because no man lays it to heart. Destroyers are come on all the bare heights in the wilderness, for the sword of Yahweh devours from the one end of the land even to the other end of the land, no flesh has peace. They have sown wheat, and have reaped thorns, they have put themselves to pain, and profit nothing, and you shall be ashamed of your fruits, because of the fierce anger of Yahweh. Thus says Yahweh against all my evil neighbors, who touch the inheritance which I have caused my people Israel to inherit, behold, I will pluck them up from off their land, and will pluck up the house of Judah from among them. It shall happen, after that I have plucked them up, I will return and have compassion on them, and I will bring them again, every man to his heritage, and every man to his land. It shall happen, if they will diligently learn the ways of my people, to swear by my name, as Yahweh lives, even as they taught my people to swear by Baal, then shall they be built up in the midst of my people. But if they will not hear, then will I pluck up that nation, plucking up and destroying it, says Yahweh. Chapter 13 Edit. Thus says Yahweh to me, Go, and buy yourself a linen belt, and put it on your waist, and don't put it in water. So I bought a belt according to the word of Yahweh, and put it on my waist. The word of Yahweh came to me the second time, saying, Take the belt that you have bought, which is on your waist, and arise, go to the Euphrates, and hide it there in a cleft of the rock. So I went, and hid it by the Euphrates, as Yahweh commanded me. It happened after many days, that Yahweh said to me, Arise, go to the Euphrates, and take the belt from there, which I commanded you to hide there. Then I went to the Euphrates, and dug, and took the belt from the place where I had hid it, and behold, the belt was mud, it was profitable for nothing. Then the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Thus says Yahweh, After this manner will I mar the pride of Judah, and the great pride of Jerusalem. This evil people, who refuse to hear my words, who walk in the stubbornness of their heart, and are gone after other gods to serve them, and to worship them, shall even be as this belt, which is profitable for nothing. For as the belt cleaves to the waist of a man, so have I caused to cleave to me the whole house of Israel and the whole house of Judah, says Yahweh, that they may be to me for a people, and for a name, and for a praise, and for a glory, but they would not hear. Therefore you shall speak to them this word, Thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, Every bottle shall be filled with wine, and they shall tell you, Do we not certainly know that every bottle shall be filled with wine? Then you shall tell them, Thus says Yahweh, Behold, I will fill all the inhabitants of this land, even the kings who sit on David's throne, and the priests, and the prophets, and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, with drunkenness. I will dash them one against another, even the fathers and the sons together, says Yahweh, I will not pity, nor spare, nor have compassion, that I should not destroy them. Hear, and give ear, don't be proud, for Yahweh has spoken. Give glory to Yahweh your God, before he causes darkness, and before your feet stumble on the dark mountains, and, while you look for light, he turns it into the shadow of death, and makes it gross darkness. But if you will not hear it, my soul shall weep in secret for your pride, and my eye shall weep sore, and run down with tears, because Yahweh's flock is taken captive. Say to the king and to the queen mother, Humble yourselves, sit down, for your headdresses have come down, even the crown of your glory. The cities of the south are shut up, and there is none to open them, Judah is carried away captive, all of it, it is wholly carried away captive. Lift up your eyes, and see those who come from the north, where is the flock that was given you, your beautiful flock? What will you say, when he shall set over you as head those whom you have yourself taught to be friends to you? Shall not sorrows take hold of you, as of a woman in travail? If you say in your heart, Why are these things come on me? For the greatness of your iniquity are your skirts uncovered, and your heels suffer violence. Can the Ethiopian change his skin, or the leopard his spots? Then may you also do good, who are accustomed to do evil. Therefore will I scatter them, as the stubble that passes away, by the wind of the wilderness. This is your lot, the portion measured to you from me, says Yahweh, because you have forgotten me, and trusted in falsehood. Therefore will I also uncover your skirts on your face, and your shame shall appear. I have seen your abominations, even your adulteries, and your neighing, the lewdness of your prostitution, on the hills in the field. Woe to you, Jerusalem! You will not be made clean. How long shall it yet be? Chapter 14, Edit. The word of Yahweh that came to Jeremiah concerning the drought. Judah mourns, and its gates languish, they sit in black on the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. Their nobles send their little ones to the waters, they come to the cisterns, and find no water, they return with their vessels empty, they are disappointed and confounded, and cover their heads. Because of the ground which is cracked, because no rain has been in the land, the ploughmen are disappointed, they cover their heads. Yes, the hind also in the field calves, and forsakes her young, because there is no grass. The wild donkeys stand on the bare heights, they pant for air like jackals, their eyes fail, because there is no herbage. Though our iniquities testify against us, work for your name Sarkeh, Yahweh, for our backslidings are many, we have sinned against you. You hope of Israel, its saviour in the time of trouble, why should you be as a foreigner in the land, and as a wayfaring man who turns aside to stay for a night? Why should you be like a scared man, as a mighty man who can't save? Yet you, Yahweh, are in the midst of us, and we are called by your name, don't leave us. Thus says Yahweh to this people, even so have they loved to wander, they have not refrained their feet, therefore Yahweh does not accept them, now he will remember their iniquity, and visit their sins. Yahweh said to me, don't pray for this people for their good. When they fast, I will not hear their cry, and when they offer burnt offering and meal offering, I will not accept them, but I will consume them by the sword, and by the famine, and by the pestilence. Then said I, Ah, Lord Yahweh. Behold, the prophets tell them, you shall not see the sword, neither shall you have famine, but I will give you assured peace in this place. Then Yahweh said to me, the prophets prophesy lies in my name, I didn't send them, neither have I commanded them, neither spoke I to them, they prophesy to you a lying vision, and divination, and a thing of nothing, and the deceit of their own heart. Therefore thus says Yahweh concerning the prophets who prophesy in my name, and I didn't send them, yet they say, sword and famine shall not be in this land, by sword and famine shall those prophets be consumed. The people to whom they prophesy shall be cast out in the streets of Jerusalem because of the famine and the sword, and they shall have none to bury them, their wives, nor their sons, nor their daughters. For I will pour their wickedness on them. You shall say this word to them, let my eyes run down with tears night and day, and let them not cease, for the virgin daughter of my people is broken with a great breach, with a very grievous wound. If I go forth into the field, then, behold, the slain with the sword, and if I enter into the city, then, behold, those who are sick with famine, for both the prophet and the priest go about in the land, and have no knowledge. Have you utterly rejected Judah? Has your soul loathed Zion? Why have you struck us, and there is no healing for us? We looked for peace, but no good came, and for a time of healing, and behold, dismay. We acknowledge, Yahweh, our wickedness, and the iniquity of our fathers, for we have sinned against you. Do not abhorrest for your name Sarkeh, do not disgrace the throne of your glory, remember, don't break your covenant with us. Are there any among the vanities of the nations that can cause rain? Or can the sky give showers? Aren't you he, Yahweh our God? Therefore we will wait for you have made all these things. Chapter 15, Edit. Then said Yahweh to me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind would not be toward this people, cast him out of my sight, and let them go forth. It shall happen, when they tell you, where shall we go forth? Then you shall tell them, thus says Yahweh, such as if for death, to death, and such as if for the sword, to the sword, and such as if for the famine, to the famine, and such as if for captivity, to captivity. I will appoint over them 4 kinds, says Yahweh, the sword to kill, and the dogs to tear, and the birds of the sky, and the animals of the earth, to devour and to destroy. I will cause them to be tossed back and forth among all the kingdoms of the earth, because of Manasseh, the son of Hezekiah, king of Judah, for that which he did in Jerusalem. For who will have pity on you, Jerusalem? Or who will bemoan you? Or who will turn aside to ask of your welfare? You have rejected me, says Yahweh, you have gone backward, therefore have I stretched out my hand against you, and destroyed you, I am weary with repenting. I have winnowed them with a fan in the gates of the land, I have bereaved them of children, I have destroyed my people, they didn't return from their ways. Their widows are increased to me above the sand of the seas, I have brought on them against the mother of the young men a destroyer at noonday, I have caused anguish and terrors to fall on her suddenly. She who has borne 7 languishes, she has given up the spirit, her son is gone down while it was yet day, she has been disappointed and confounded, and the residue of them will I deliver to the sword before their enemies, says Yahweh. Woe is me, my mother, that you have borne me a man of strife and a man of contention to the whole earth. I have not lent, neither have men lent to me, yet every one of them does curse me. Yahweh said, most certainly I will strengthen you for good, most certainly I will cause the enemy to make supplication to you in the time of evil and in the time of affliction. Can one break iron, even iron from the north, and brass? Your substance and your treasures will I give for a spoil without price, and that for all your sins, even in all your borders. I will make them to pass with your enemies into a land which you don't know, for a fire is kindled in my anger, which shall burn on you. Yahweh, you know, remember me, and visit me, and avenge me of my persecutors. Don't take me away in your long suffering. Know that for your sake I have suffered reproach. Your words were found, and I ate them, and your words were to me a joy and the rejoicing of my heart, for I am called by your name, Yahweh, God of armies. I didn't sit in the assembly of those who make merry, nor rejoice. I sat alone because of your hand, for you have filled me with indignation. Why is my pain perpetual, and my wound incurable, which refuses to be healed? Will you indeed be to me as a deceitful brook, as waters that fail? Therefore thus says Yahweh, if you return, then will I bring you again, that you may stand before me, and if you take forth the precious from the vial, you shall be as my mouth, they shall return to you. But you shall not return to them. I will make you to this people a fortified bronze wall, and they shall fight against you, but they shall not prevail against you, for I am with you to save you and to deliver you, says Yahweh. I will deliver you out of the hand of the wicked, and I will redeem you out of the hand of the terrible. Chapter 16 Edit. The word of Yahweh came also to me, saying, You shall not take a wife, neither shall you have sons or daughters, in this place. For thus says Yahweh concerning the sons and concerning the daughters who are born in this place, and concerning their mothers who bore them, and concerning their fathers who became the father of them in this land, they shall die grievous deaths. They shall not be lamented, neither shall they be buried, they shall be as dung on the surface of the ground, and they shall be consumed by the sword, and by famine, and their dead bodies shall be food for the birds of the sky, and for the animals of the earth. For thus says Yahweh, don't enter into the house of mourning, neither go to lament, neither bemoan them, for I have taken away my peace from this people, says Yahweh, even loving kindness and tender mercies. Both great and small shall die in this land, they shall not be buried, neither shall men lament for them, nor cut themselves, nor make themselves bald for them, neither shall men break bread for them in mourning, to comfort them for the dead. Neither shall men give them a cup of consolation to drink for their father or for their mother. You shall not go into the house of feasting to sit with them, to eat and to drink. For thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, Behold, I will cause to cease out of this place, before your eyes and in your days, the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride. It shall happen, when you shall show this people all these words, and they shall tell you, Why has Yahweh pronounced all this great evil against us? Or what is our iniquity? Or what is our sin that we have committed against Yahweh our God? Then you shall tell them, Because your fathers have forsaken me, says Yahweh, and have walked after other gods, and have served them, and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my law. And you have done evil more than your fathers, for, behold, you walk every one after the stubbornness of his evil heart, so that you don't listen to me. Therefore will I cast you forth out of this land into the land that you have not known, neither you nor your fathers, and there you shall serve other gods day and night, for I will show you no favor. Therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that it shall no more be said, As Yahweh lives, who brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, but, As Yahweh lives, who brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the countries where he had driven them. I will bring them again into their land that I gave to their fathers. Behold, I will send for many fishermen, says Yahweh, and they shall fish them up, and afterward I will send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain, and from every hill, and out of the clefts of the rocks. For my eyes are on all their ways, they are not hidden from my face, neither is their iniquity concealed from my eyes. First I will recompense their iniquity and their sin double, because they have polluted my land with the carcasses of their detestable things, and have filled my inheritance with their abominations. Yahweh, my strength, and my stronghold, and my refuge in the day of affliction, to you shall the nations come from the ends of the earth, and shall say, Our fathers have inherited nothing but lies, even vanity and things in which there is no profit. Shall a man make to himself gods, which yet are no gods? Therefore, behold, I will cause them to know, this once will I cause them to know my hand and my might, and they shall know that my name is Yahweh. Chapter 17 Edit. The sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron, and with the point of a diamond, it is engraved on the tablet of their heart, and on the horns of your altars. While their children remember their altars and their Asherim by the green trees on the high hills. My mountain in the field, I will give your substance and all your treasures for a spoil, and your high places, because of sin, throughout all your borders. You, even of yourself, shall discontinue from your heritage that I gave you, and I will cause you to serve your enemies in the land which you don't know, for you have kindled a fire in my anger which shall burn forever. Thus says Yahweh, Cursed is the man who trusts in man, and makes flesh his arm, and whose heart departs from Yahweh. For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good comes, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, a salt land and not inhabited. Blessed is the man who trusts in Yahweh, and whose trust Yahweh is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, who spreads out its roots by the river, and shall not fear when heat comes, but its leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought. Neither shall cease from yielding fruit. The heart is deceitful above all things, and it is exceedingly corrupt, who can know it? I, Yahweh, search the mind, I try the heart, even to give every man according to his ways, according to the fruit of his doings. As the partridge that sits on eggs which she has not laid, so is he who gets riches, and not by right. In the midst of his days they shall leave him, and at his end he shall be a fool. A glorious throne, set on high from the beginning, is the place of our sanctuary. Yahweh, the hope of Israel, all who forsake you shall be disappointed. Those who depart from me shall be written in the earth, because they have forsaken Yahweh, the spring of living waters. Heal me, O Yahweh, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved, for you are my praise. Behold, they tell me, where is the word of Yahweh? Let it come now. As for me, I have not hurried from being a shepherd after you, neither have I desired the woeful day. You know, that which came out of my lips was before your face. Don't be a terror to me, you are my refuge in the day of evil. Let them be disappointed who persecute me, but let not me be disappointed. Let them be dismayed, but don't let me be dismayed. Bring on them the day of evil, and destroy them with double destruction. Thus said Yahweh to me, Go, and stand in the gate of the children of the people, through which the kings of Judah come in, and by which they go out, and in all the gates of Jerusalem, and tell them. Hear the word of Yahweh, you kings of Judah, and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, that enter in by these gates. Thus says Yahweh, Take heed to yourselves, and bear no burden on the Sabbath day. Nor bring it in by the gates of Jerusalem, neither carry forth a burden out of your houses on the Sabbath day holy, neither do any work, but make the Sabbath day, as I commanded your fathers. But they didn't listen, neither turned their ear, but made their neck stiff, that they might not hear, and might not receive instruction. It shall happen, if you diligently listen to me, says Yahweh, to bring in no burden through the gates of this city on the Sabbath day, but to make the Sabbath day holy, to do no work therein. Then shall there enter in by the gates of this city kings and princes sitting on the throne of David, riding in chariots and on horses, they, and their princes, the men of Judah, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and this city shall remain forever. They shall come from the cities of Judah, and from the places around Jerusalem, and from the land of Benjamin, and from the lowland, and from the hill country, and from the south, bringing burnt offerings, and sacrifices, and meal offerings, and frankincense, and bringing sacrifices of thanksgiving, to the house of Yahweh. But if you will not listen to me to make the Sabbath day holy, and not to bear a burden and enter in at the gates of Jerusalem on the Sabbath day, then will I kindle a fire in its gates. And it shall devour the palaces of Jerusalem, and it shall not be quenched. Chapter 18, Edit. The word which came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, Arise, and go down to the potter's house, and there I will cause you to hear my words. Then I went down to the potter's house, and behold, he was making a work on the wheels. When the vessel that he made of the clay was marred in the hand of the potter, he made it again another vessel, as seemed good to the potter to make it. Then the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, House of Israel, can't I do with you as this potter? Says Yahweh, Behold, as the clay in the potter's hand, so are you in my hand, house of Israel. At what instant I shall speak concerning a nation, and concerning a kingdom, to pluck up and to break down and to destroy it, if that nation, concerning which I have spoken, turn from their evil. I will repent of the evil that I thought to do to them. At what instant I shall speak concerning a nation, and concerning a kingdom, to build and to plant it, if they do that which is evil in my sight, that they not obey my voice, then I will repent of the good with which I said I would benefit them. Now therefore, speak to the men of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, Thus says Yahweh, Behold, I frame evil against you, and devise a device against you. Return you now everyone from his evil way, and amend your ways and your doings. But they say, It is in vain, for we will walk after our own devices, and we will do everyone after the stubbornness of his evil heart. Therefore thus says Yahweh, Ask now among the nations, who has heard such things? The Virgin of Israel has done a very horrible thing. Shall the snow of Lebanon fail from the rock of the field? Or shall the cold waters that flow down from afar be dried up? For my people have forgotten me, they have burned incense to false gods, and they have been made to stumble in their ways, in the ancient paths, to walk in byways, in a way not built up, to make their land in astonishment. And a perpetual hissing, everyone who passes thereby shall be astonished, and shake his head. I will scatter them as with an east wind before the enemy, I will show them the back, and not the face, in the day of their calamity. Then they said, Come, and let us devise devices against Jeremiah, for the law shall not perish from the priest, nor counsel from the wise, nor the word from the prophet. Come, and let us strike him with the tongue, and let us not give heed to any of his words. Give heed to me, Yahweh, and listen to the voice of those who contend with me. Shall evil be recompensed for good? For they have dug a pit for my soul. Remember how I stood before you to speak good for them, to turn away your wrath from them. Therefore deliver up their children to the famine, and give them over to the power of the sword, and let their wives become childless, and widows, and let their men be slain of death, and their young men struck of the sword in battle. Let a cry be heard from their houses, when you shall bring a troop suddenly on them, for they have dug a pit to take me, and hid snares for my feet. Yet, Yahweh, you know all their counsel against me to kill me. Don't forgive their iniquity, neither blot out their sin from your sight, but let them be overthrown before you, deal you with them in the time of your anger. Chapter 19, Edit. Thus said Yahweh, Go, and buy a potter's earthen bottle, and take of the elders of the people, and of the elders of the priests, and go forth to the valley of the son of Hinnom, which is by the entry of the gate Harseth. And proclaim there the words that I shall tell you, and say, Hear the word of Yahweh, kings of Judah, and inhabitants of Jerusalem. Thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, Behold, I will bring evil on this place, which whoever hears, his ears shall tingle. Because they have forsaken me, and have estranged this place, and have burned incense in it to other gods, that they didn't know, they and their fathers and the kings of Judah, and have filled this place with the blood of innocents. And have built the high places of Baal, to burn their sons in the fire for burnt offerings to Baal, which I didn't command, nor spoke it, neither came it into my mind. Therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that this place shall no more be called Topheth, nor the valley of the son of Hinnom, but the valley of slaughter. I will make void the counsel of Judah and Jerusalem in this place, and I will cause them to fall by the sword before their enemies, and by the hand of those who seek their life. And their dead bodies will I give to be food for the birds of the sky, and for the animals of the earth. I will make this city an astonishment, and a hissing. Everyone who passes thereby shall be astonished and hiss because of all its plagues. I will cause them to eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters, and they shall eat everyone the flesh of his friend, in the siege and in the distress with which their enemies, and those who seek their life, shall distress them. Then you shall break the bottle in the sight of the men who go with you, and shall tell them, thus says Yahweh of armies, even so will I break this people and this city, as one breaks a potter's vessel that can't be made whole again, and they shall bury in Topheth, until there be no place to bury. Thus will I do to this place, says Yahweh, and to its inhabitants, even making the city as Topheth, and the houses of Jerusalem, and the houses of the kings of Judah, which are defiled, shall be as the place of Topheth. Even all the houses on whose roofs they have burned incense to all the army of the sky, and have poured out drink offerings to other gods. Then came Jeremiah from Topheth, where Yahweh had sent him to prophesy, and he stood in the court of Yahweh's house, and said to all the people, thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, behold, I will bring on this city and on all its towns all the evil that I have pronounced against it, because they have made their neck stiff, that they may not hear my words. Chapter 20, Edit. Now Pashhur, the son of Immer the priest, who was chief officer in the house of Yahweh, heard Jeremiah prophesying these things. Then Pashhur struck Jeremiah the prophet, and put him in the stocks that were in the upper gate of Benjamin, which was in the house of Yahweh. It happened on the next day, that Pashhur brought forth Jeremiah out of the stocks. Then said Jeremiah to him, Yahweh has not called your name Pashhur, but Magor-Missabib. For thus says Yahweh, behold, I will make you a terror to yourself, and to all your friends, and they shall fall by the sword of their enemies, and your eyes shall see it. And I will give all Judah into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall carry them captive to Babylon, and shall kill them with the sword. Moreover I will give all the riches of this city, and all its gains, and all the precious things of it, yes, all the treasures of the kings of Judah will I give into the hand of their enemies. And they shall make them a prey, and take them, and carry them to Babylon. You, Pashhur, and all who dwell in your house shall go into captivity, and you shall come to Babylon, and there you shall die, and there you shall be buried, you, and all your friends, to whom you have prophesied falsely. Yahweh, you have persuaded me, and I was persuaded. You are stronger than I, and have prevailed. I am become a laughing stock all the day, everyone mocks me. For as often as I speak, I cry out, I cry, violence and destruction. Because the word of Yahweh is made a reproach to me, and a derision, all the day. If I say, I will not make mention of him, nor speak any more in his name, then there is in my heart as it were a burning fire shut up in my bones, and I am weary with forbearing, and I can't contain. For I have heard the defaming of many, terror on every side. Denounce, and we will denounce him, say all my familiar friends, those who watch for my fall, perhaps he will be persuaded, and we shall prevail against him, and we shall take our revenge on him. But Yahweh is with me as an awesome mighty one, therefore my persecutors shall stumble, and they shall not prevail, they shall be utterly disappointed, because they have not dealt wisely, even with an everlasting dishonor which shall never be forgotten. But, Yahweh of armies, who tests the righteous, who sees the heart and the mind, let me see your vengeance on them, for to you have I revealed my cause. Sing to Yahweh, praise Yahweh, for he has delivered the soul of the needy from the hand of evildoers. Cursed is the day in which I was born, though let the day in which my mother bore me be blessed. Cursed is the man who brought news to my father, saying, a boy is born to you, making him very glad. Let that man be as the cities which Yahweh overthrew, and didn't repent, and let him hear a cry in the morning, and shouting at noontime, because he didn't kill me from the womb, and so my mother would have been my grave, and her womb always great. Why came I forth out of the womb to see labor and sorrow, that my days should be consumed with shame? Chapter 21, Edit. The word which came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, when King Zedekiah sent to him Pashhur the son of Malchijah, and Zephaniah the son of Maaseiah, the priest, saying, Please inquire of Yahweh for us, for Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon makes war against us. Perhaps Yahweh will deal with us according to all his wondrous works, that he may go up from us. Then said Jeremiah to them, You shall tell Zedekiah, Thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, Behold, I will turn back the weapons of war that are in your hands, with which you fight against the king of Babylon, and against the Chaldeans who besiege you, without the walls, and I will gather them into the midst of this city. I myself will fight against you with an outstretched hand and with a strong arm, even in anger, and in wrath, and in great indignation. I will strike the inhabitants of this city, both man and animal, they shall die of a great pestilence. Afterward, says Yahweh, I will deliver Zedekiah king of Judah, and his servants, and the people, even such as are left in this city from the pestilence, from the sword, and from the famine, into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon. and into the hand of their enemies, and into the hand of those who seek their life, and he shall strike them with the edge of the sword. He shall not spare them, neither have pity, nor have mercy. To this people you shall say, Thus says Yahweh, Behold, I set before you the way of life and the way of death. He who remains in this city shall die by the sword, and by the famine, and by the pestilence, but he who goes out, and passes over to the Chaldeans who besiege you, he shall live. And his life shall be to him for a prey. For I have set my face on this city for evil, and not for good, says Yahweh. It shall be given into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall burn it with fire. Touching the house of the king of Judah, hear the word of Yahweh, house of David. Thus says Yahweh, Execute justice in the morning, and deliver him who is robbed out of the hand of the oppressor, lest my wrath go forth like fire, and burn so that none can quench it, because of the evil of your doings. Behold, I am against you, O inhabitant of the valley, and of the rock of the plain, says Yahweh, you that say, Who shall come down against us? Or who shall enter into our habitations? I will punish you according to the fruit of your doings, says Yahweh, and I will kindle a fire in her forest, and it shall devour all that is around her. Chapter 22, Edit. Thus said Yahweh, Go down to the house of the king of Judah, and speak there this word, say, Hear the word of Yahweh, king of Judah, who sits on the throne of David, you, and your servants, and your people who enter in by these gates. Thus says Yahweh, Execute justice and righteousness, and deliver him who is robbed out of the hand of the oppressor, and do no wrong, do no violence, to the foreigner, the fatherless, nor the widow, neither shed innocent blood in this place. For if you do this thing indeed, then shall there enter in by the gates of this house kings sitting on the throne of David, riding in chariots and on horses, he, and his servants, and his people. But if you will not hear these words, I swear by myself, says Yahweh, that this house shall become a desolation. For thus says Yahweh concerning the house of the king of Judah, You are Gilead to me, and the head of Lebanon, yet surely I will make you a wilderness, and cities which are not inhabited. I will prepare destroyers against you, everyone with his weapons, and they shall cut down your choice cedars, and cast them into the fire. Many nations shall pass by this city, and they shall say every man to his neighbor, Why has Yahweh done thus to this great city? Then they shall answer, Because they forsook the covenant of Yahweh their God, and worshipped other gods, and served them. Don't weep for the dead, neither bemoan him, but weep bitterly for him who goes away, for he shall return no more, nor see his native country. For thus says Yahweh touching Shallum the son of Josiah, king of Judah, who reigned instead of Josiah his father, and who went forth out of this place, he shall not return there any more. But in the place where they have led him captive, there shall he die, and he shall see this land no more. Woe to him who builds his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by injustice, who uses his neighbor's service without wages, and doesn't give him his hire, who says, I will build me a wide house and spacious chambers, and cuts him out windows. And it is ceiling with cedar, and painted with vermilion. Shall you reign, because you strive to excel in cedar? Didn't your father eat and drink, and do justice and righteousness? Then it was well with him. He judged the cause of the poor and needy, then it was well. Wasn't this to know me? Says Yahweh, but your eyes and your heart are not but for your covetousness, and for shedding innocent blood, and for oppression, and for violence, to do it. Therefore thus says Yahweh concerning Jehoiakim the son of Josiah, king of Judah, They shall not lament for him, saying, Ah my brother, or, our sister. They shall not lament for him, saying, Our Lord, or, Ah his glory. He shall be buried with the burial of a donkey, drawn and cast forth beyond the gates of Jerusalem. Go up to Lebanon, and cry, and lift up your voice in Bashan, and cry from Abarim, for all your lovers are destroyed. I spoke to you in your prosperity, but you said, I will not hear. This has been your manner from your youth, that you didn't obey my voice. The wind shall feed all your shepherds, and your lovers shall go into captivity. Surely then you will be ashamed and confounded for all your wickedness. Inhabitant of Lebanon, who makes your nest in the cedars, how greatly to be pitied you will be when pangs come on you, the pain as of a woman in travail. As I live, says Yahweh, though Coniah the son of Jehoiakim king of Judah with a signet on my right hand, yet would I pluck you there, and I will give you into the hand of those who seek your life. And into the hand of them of whom you are afraid, even into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon, and into the hand of the Chaldeans. I will cast you out, and your mother who bore you, into another country, where you were not born, and there you will die. But to the land whereunto their soul longs to return, there shall they not return. Is this man Coniah a despised broken vessel? Is he a vessel in which none delights? Why are they cast out, he and his seed, and are cast into the land which they don't know? O earth, earth, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus says Yahweh, write you this man childless, a man who shall not prosper in his days, for no more shall a man of his seed prosper, sitting on the throne of David, and ruling in Judah. Chapter 23, Edit. Woe to the shepherds who destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, says Yahweh. Therefore thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, against the shepherds who feed my people, you have scattered my flock, and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit on you the evil of your doings, says Yahweh. I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all the countries where I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and multiply. I will set up shepherds over them, who shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall any be lacking, says Yahweh. Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will raise to David a righteous branch, and he shall reign as king and deal wisely, and shall execute justice and righteousness in the land. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely, and this is his name by which he shall be called, Yahweh our righteousness. Therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that they shall no more say, as Yahweh lives, who brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, but, as Yahweh lives, who brought up and who led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all the countries where I had driven them. They shall dwell in their own land. Concerning the prophets, my heart within me is broken, all my bones shake, I am like a drunken man, and like a man whom wine has overcome, because of Yahweh, and because of his holy words. For the land is full of adulterers, for because of swearing the land mourns, the pastures of the wilderness are dried up. The course is evil, and their might is not right, for both prophet and priest are profane, yes, in my house have I found their wickedness, says Yahweh. Therefore their way shall be to them as slippery places in the darkness, they shall be driven on, and fall therein, for I will bring evil on them, even the year of their visitation, says Yahweh. I have seen folly in the prophets of Samaria, they prophesied by Baal, and caused my people Israel to err. In the prophets of Jerusalem also I have seen a horrible thing, they commit adultery, and walk in lies, and they strengthen the hands of evildoers, so that none does return from his wickedness, they are all of them become to me as Sodom, and its inhabitants as Gomorrah. Therefore thus says Yahweh of armies concerning the prophets, behold, I will feed them with wormwood, and make them drink the water of gall, for from the prophets of Jerusalem is ungodliness gone forth into all the land. Thus says Yahweh of armies, don't listen to the words of the prophets who prophesy to you, they teach you vanity, they speak a vision of their own heart, and not out of the mouth of Yahweh. They say continually to those who despise me, Yahweh has said, you shall have peace, and to everyone who walks in the stubbornness of his own heart they say, no evil shall come on you. For who has stood in the counsel of Yahweh, that he should perceive and hear his word? Who has marked my word, and heard it? Behold, the storm of Yahweh, even his wrath, is gone forth, yes, a whirling storm, it shall burst on the head of the wicked. The anger of Yahweh shall not return, until he has executed, and until he have performed the intents of his heart. In the latter days you shall understand it perfectly. I sent not these prophets, yet they ran, I didn't speak to them, yet they prophesied. But if they had stood in my counsel, then had they caused my people to hear my words, and had turned them from their evil way, and from the evil of their doings. Am I a God at hand, says Yahweh, and not a God afar off? Can any hide himself in secret places so that I shall not see him? Says Yahweh, don't I fill heaven and earth? Says Yahweh. I have heard what the prophets have said, who prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets who prophesy lies, even the prophets of the deceit of their own heart? Who think to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams which they tell every man to his neighbor, as their fathers forgot my name for Baal. The prophet who has a dream, let him tell a dream, and he who has my word, let him speak my word faithfully. What is the straw to the wheat? Says Yahweh, isn't my word like fire? Says Yahweh, and like a hammer that breaks the rock in pieces. Therefore, behold, I am against the prophets, says Yahweh, who steal my words everyone from his neighbor. Behold, I am against the prophets, says Yahweh, who use their tongues, and say, he says. Behold, I am against those who prophesy lying dreams, says Yahweh, and do tell them, and cause my people to err by their lies, and by their vain boasting, yet I didn't send them, nor commanded them, neither do they profit this people at all. Says Yahweh. When this people, or the prophet, or a priest, shall ask you, saying, what is the burden of Yahweh? Then you shall tell them, what burden? I will cast you off, says Yahweh. As for the prophet, and the priest, and the people, who shall say, the burden of Yahweh, I will even punish that man and his house. You shall say everyone to his neighbor, and everyone to his brother, what has Yahweh answered? And, what has Yahweh spoken? You shall mention the burden of Yahweh no more, for every man's own word shall be his burden, for you have perverted the words of the living God, of Yahweh of armies our God. You shall say to the prophet, what has Yahweh answered you? And, what has Yahweh spoken? But if you say, the burden of Yahweh, therefore thus says Yahweh, because you say this word, the burden of Yahweh, and I have sent to you, saying, you shall not say, the burden of Yahweh, therefore, behold, I will utterly forget you. And I will cast you off, and the city that I gave to you and to your fathers, away from my presence, and I will bring an everlasting reproach on you, and a perpetual shame, which shall not be forgotten. Chapter 24, Edit. Yahweh showed me, and behold, 2 baskets of figs set before the temple of Yahweh, after the Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon had carried away captive Jeconiah the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and the princes of Judah, with the craftsmen and smiths from Jerusalem, and had brought them to Babylon. 1 basket had very good figs, like the figs that are first ripe, and the other basket had very bad figs, which could not be eaten, they were so bad. Then said Yahweh to me, what do you see, Jeremiah? I said, figs, the good figs, very good, and the bad, very bad, that can't be eaten, they are so bad. The word of Yahweh came to me, saying, thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, like these good figs, so will I regard the captives of Judah, whom I have sent out of this place into the land of the Chaldeans, for good. For I will set my eyes on them for good, and I will bring them again to this land, and I will build them, and not pull them down, and I will plant them, and not pluck them up. I will give them a heart to know me, that I am Yahweh, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God, for they shall return to me with their whole heart. As the bad figs, which can't be eaten, they are so bad, surely thus says Yahweh, so will I give up Zedekiah the king of Judah, and his princes, and the residue of Jerusalem, who remain in this land. And those who dwell in the land of Egypt, I will even give them up to be tossed back and forth among all the kingdoms of the earth for evil, to be a reproach and a proverb, a taunt and a curse. In all places where I shall drive them, I will send the sword, the famine, and the pestilence among them, until they be consumed from off the land that I gave to them and to their fathers. Chapter 25, Edit. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the people of Judah, in the 4th year of Jehoiakim the son of Josiah, king of Judah, the same was the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon. Which Jeremiah the prophet spoke to all the people of Judah, and to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, from the 13th year of Josiah the son of Amon, king of Judah, even to this day, these 23 years. The word of Yahweh has come to me, and I have spoken to you, rising up early and speaking, but you have not listened. Yahweh has sent to you all his servants the prophets, rising up early and sending them, but you have not listened, nor inclined your ear to hear, saying, return now everyone from his evil way, and from the evil of your doings. And dwell in the land that Yahweh has given to you and to your fathers, from of old and even forevermore, and don't go after other gods to serve them or worship them, and don't provoke me to anger with the work of your hands. And I will do you no harm. Yet you have not listened to me, says Yahweh, that you may provoke me to anger with the work of your hands to your own hurt. Therefore thus says Yahweh of armies, because you have not heard my words, behold, I will send and take all the families of the north, says Yahweh, and I will send to Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon, my servant. And will bring him against this land, and against its inhabitants, and against all these nations around, and I will utterly destroy them, and make them an astonishment, and a hissing, and perpetual desolations. Moreover I will take from him the voice of mirth and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, the sound of the millstones, and the light of the lamp. This whole land shall be a desolation, and an astonishment, and these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years. It shall happen, when 70 years are accomplished, that I will punish the king of Babylon and that nation, says Yahweh, for their iniquity, and the land of the Chaldeans, and I will make it desolate forever. I will bring on that land all my words which I have pronounced against it, even all that is written in this book, which Jeremiah has prophesied against all the nations. For many nations and great kings shall make bondservants of them, even of them, and I will recompense them according to their deeds, and according to the work of their hands. For thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, to me, take this cup of the wine of wrath at my hand, and cause all the nations, to whom I send you, to drink it. They shall drink, and reel back and forth, and be mad, because of the sword that I will send among them. Then took I the cup at Yahweh's hand, and made all the nations to drink, to whom Yahweh had sent me, to wit, Jerusalem, and the cities of Judah, and its kings, and its princes, to make them a desolation, an astonishment, a hissing, and a curse, as it is this day, Pharaoh king of Egypt, and his servants, and his princes, and all his people, and all the mixed people, and all the kings of the land of the Uz, and all the kings of the Philistines, and Ashkelon, and Gaza, and Ekron, and the remnant of Ashdod, Edom, and Moab, and the children of Ammon, and all the kings of Tyre, and all the kings of Sidon, and the kings of the isle which is beyond the sea, Dedan, and Tema, and Buz, and all who have the corners of their hair cut off, and all the kings of Arabia, and all the kings of the mixed people who dwell in the wilderness, and all the kings of Zimri, and all the kings of Elam, and all the kings of the Medes, and all the kings of the north, far and near one with another, and all the kingdoms of the world, which are on the surface of the earth, and the king of Sheshach shall drink after them. You shall tell them, thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, drink, and be drunk, vomit, fall, and rise no more, because of the sword which I will send among you. It shall be, if they refuse to take the cup at your hand to drink, then you shall tell them, thus says Yahweh of armies, you shall surely drink. For, behold, I begin to work evil at the city which is called by my name, and should you be utterly unpunished? You shall not be unpunished, for I will call for a sword on all the inhabitants of the earth, says Yahweh of armies. Therefore prophesy you against him all these words, and tell them, Yahweh will roar from on high, and utter his voice from his holy habitation, he will mightily roar against his fold, he will give a shout, as those who tread the grapes, against all the inhabitants of the earth. A noise shall come even to the end of the earth, for Yahweh has a controversy with the nations, he will enter into judgment with all flesh, as for the wicked, he will give them to the sword, says Yahweh. Thus says Yahweh of armies, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great storm shall be raised up from the uttermost parts of the earth. The slain of Yahweh shall be at that day from one end of the earth even to the other end of the earth, they shall not be lamented, neither gathered, nor buried, they shall be dung on the surface of the ground. Wail, you shepherds, and cry, and wallow in ashes, you principal of the flock, for the days of your slaughter and of your dispersions are fully come, and you shall fall like a goodly vessel. The shepherds shall have no way to flee, nor the principal of the flock to escape. A voice of the cry of the shepherds, and the wailing of the principal of the flock, for Yahweh lays waste their pasture. The peaceable folds are brought to silence because of the fierce anger of Yahweh. He has left his covert, as the lion, for their land is become an astonishment because of the fierceness of the oppressing sword, and because of his fierce anger. Chapter 26, Edit. In the beginning of the reign of Jehoiakim the son of Josiah, king of Judah, came this word from Yahweh, saying, Thus says Yahweh, stand in the court of Yahweh's house, and speak to all the cities of Judah, which come to worship in Yahweh's house, all the words that I command you to speak to them, don't diminish a word. It may be they will listen, and turn every man from his evil way, that I may repent me of the evil which I purpose to do to them because of the evil of their doings. You shall tell them, Thus says Yahweh, if you will not listen to me, to walk in my law, which I have set before you, to listen to the words of my servants the prophets, whom I send to you, even rising up early and sending them, for you have not listened, then will I make this house like Shiloh, and will make this city a curse to all the nations of the earth. The priests and the prophets and all the people heard Jeremiah speaking these words in the house of Yahweh. It happened, when Jeremiah had made an end of speaking all that Yahweh had commanded him to speak to all the people, that the priests and the prophets and all the people laid hold on him, saying, You shall surely die. Why have you prophesied in the name of Yahweh, saying, This house shall be like Shiloh, and this city shall be desolate, without inhabitant? All the people were gathered to Jeremiah in the house of Yahweh. When the princes of Judah heard these things, they came up from the king's house to the house of Yahweh, and they sat in the entry of the new gate of Yahweh's house. Then spoke the priests and the prophets to the princes and to all the people, saying, This man is worthy of death, for he has prophesied against this city, as you have heard with your ears. Then spoke Jeremiah to all the princes and to all the people, saying, Yahweh sent me to prophesy against this house and against this city all the words that you have heard. Now therefore amend your ways and your doings, and obey the voice of Yahweh your God, and Yahweh will repent him of the evil that he has pronounced against you. But as for me, behold, I am in your hand, do with me as is good and right in your eyes. Only know for certain that, if you put me to death, you will bring innocent blood on yourselves, and on this city, and on its inhabitants, for of a truth Yahweh has sent me to you to speak all these words in your ears. Then said the princes and all the people to the priests and to the prophets, This man is not worthy of death, for he has spoken to us in the name of Yahweh our God. Then rose up certain of the elders of the land, and spoke to all the assembly of the people, saying, Micah the Morashtite prophesied in the days of Hezekiah king of Judah, and he spoke to all the people of Judah, saying, Thus says Yahweh of armies, Zion shall be plowed as a field, and Jerusalem shall become heaps, and the mountain of the house as the high places of a forest. Did Hezekiah king of Judah and all Judah put him to death? Didn't he fear Yahweh, and entreat the favor of Yahweh, and Yahweh relented of the disaster which he had pronounced against them? Thus should we commit great evil against our own souls. There was also a man who prophesied in the name of Yahweh, Uriah the son of Shemaiah of Kiriath Jearim, and he prophesied against this city and against this land according to all the words of Jeremiah. And when Jehoiakim the king, with all his mighty men, and all the princes, heard his words, the king sought to put him to death, but when Uriah heard it, he was afraid, and fled, and went into Egypt, and Jehoiakim the king sent men into Egypt, namely, Elnathan the son of Achbor, and certain men with him, into Egypt, and they fetched forth Uriah out of Egypt, and brought him to Jehoiakim the king, who killed him with the sword, and cast his dead body into the graves of the common people. But the hand of Ahikam the son of Shaphan was with Jeremiah, that they should not give him into the hand of the people to put him to death. Chapter 27, Edit. In the beginning of the reign of Jehoiakim the son of Josiah, king of Judah, came this word to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, Thus says Yahweh to me, Make bonds and bars, and put them on your neck, and send them to the king of Edom, and to the king of Moab, and to the king of the children of Ammon, and to the king of Tyre, and to the king of Sidon, by the hand of the messengers who come to Jerusalem to Zedekiah king of Judah, and give them a command to their masters, saying, Thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, You shall tell your masters, I have made the earth, the men and the animals that are on the surface of the earth, by my great power and by my outstretched arm, and I give it to whom it seems right to me. Now have I given all these lands into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon, my servant, and the animals of the field also have I given him to serve him. All the nations shall serve him, and his son, and his son's son, until the time of his own land come, and then many nations and great kings shall make him their bondservant. It shall happen, that the nation and the kingdom which will not serve the same Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon, and that will not put their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, that nation will I punish, says Yahweh, with the sword, and with the famine, and with the pestilence, until I have consumed them by his hand. But as for you, don't you listen to your prophets, nor to your diviners, nor to your dreams, nor to your soothsayers, nor to your sorcerers, who speak to you, saying, You shall not serve the king of Babylon. For they prophesy a lie to you, to remove you far from your land, and that I should drive you out, and you should perish. But the nation that shall bring their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, and serve him, that nation will I let remain in their own land, says Yahweh, and they shall till it, and dwell therein. I spoke to Zedekiah king of Judah according to all these words, saying, Bring your necks under the yoke of the king of Babylon, and serve him and his people, and live. Why will you die, you and your people, by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence, as Yahweh has spoken concerning the nation that will not serve the king of Babylon? Don't listen to the words of the prophets who speak to you, saying, You shall not serve the king of Babylon, for they prophesy a lie to you. For I have not sent them, says Yahweh, but they prophesy falsely in my name, that I may drive you out, and that you may perish, you, and the prophets who prophesy to you. Also I spoke to the priests and to all this people, saying, Thus says Yahweh, don't listen to the words of your prophets who prophesy to you, saying, Behold, the vessels of Yahweh's house shall now shortly be brought again from Babylon. For they prophesy a lie to you. Don't listen to them, serve the king of Babylon, and live. Why should this city become a desolation? But if they be prophets, and if the word of Yahweh be with them, let them now make intercession to Yahweh of armies, that the vessels which are left in the house of Yahweh, and in the house of the king of Judah, and at Jerusalem, don't go to Babylon. For thus says Yahweh of armies concerning the pillars, and concerning the sea, and concerning the bases, and concerning the residue of the vessels that are left in this city, which Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon didn't take, when he carried away captive Jeconiah the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, from Jerusalem to Babylon, and all the nobles of Judah and Jerusalem. Yes, thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, concerning the vessels that are left in the house of Yahweh, and in the house of the king of Judah, and at Jerusalem, they shall be carried to Babylon, and there shall they be, until the day that I visit them, says Yahweh. Then will I bring them up, and restore them to this place. Chapter 28 Edit. It happened the same year, in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah king of Judah, in the 4th year, in the 5th month, that Hananiah the son of Azor, the prophet, who was of Gibeon, spoke to me in the house of Yahweh, in the presence of the priest and of all the people, saying, Thus speaks Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, saying, I have broken the yoke of the king of Babylon. Within 2 full years will I bring again into this place all the vessels of Yahweh's house, that Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon took away from this place, and carried to Babylon, and I will bring again to this place Jeconiah the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, with all the captives of Judah, who went to Babylon, says Yahweh, for I will break the yoke of the king of Babylon. Then the prophet Jeremiah said to the prophet Hananiah in the presence of the priest, and in the presence of all the people who stood in the house of Yahweh, even the prophet Jeremiah said, Amen, Yahweh do so. Yahweh perform your words which you have prophesied, to bring again the vessels of Yahweh's house, and all them of the captivity, from Babylon to this place. Nevertheless hear you now this word that I speak in your ears, and in the ears of all the people, the prophets who have been before me and before you of old prophesied against many countries, and against great kingdoms, of war, and of evil, and of pestilence. The prophet who prophesies of peace, when the word of the prophet shall happen, then shall the prophet be known, that Yahweh has truly sent him. Then Hananiah the prophet took the bar from off the prophet Jeremiah's neck, and broke it. Hananiah spoke in the presence of all the people, saying, Thus says Yahweh, even so will I break the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon within 2 full years from off the neck of all the nations. The prophet Jeremiah went his way. Then the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah, after that Hananiah the prophet had broken the bar from off the neck of the prophet Jeremiah, saying, Go, and tell you Hananiah, saying, Thus says Yahweh, you have broken the bars of wood, but you have made in their place bars of iron. For thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, I have put a yoke of iron on the neck of all these nations, that they may serve Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon, and they shall serve him. And I have given him the animals of the field also. Then said the prophet Jeremiah to Hananiah the prophet, Hear now, Hananiah, Yahweh has not sent you, but you make this people to trust in a lie. Therefore thus says Yahweh, Behold, I will send you away from off the surface of the earth, this year you shall die, because you have spoken rebellion against Yahweh. So Hananiah the prophet died the same year in the 7th month. Chapter 29 Edit. Now these are the words of the letter that Jeremiah the prophet sent from Jerusalem to the residue of the elders of the captivity, and to the priests, and to the prophets, and to all the people, whom Nebuchadnezzar had carried away captive from Jerusalem to Babylon, after that Jeconiah the king, and the queen mother, and the eunuchs, and the princes of Judah and Jerusalem, and the craftsmen, and the smiths, were departed from Jerusalem, by the hand of Elasah the son of Shaphan, and Gemariah the son of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah king of Judah sent to Babylon to Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon, saying, Thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, to all the captivity, whom I have caused to be carried away captive from Jerusalem to Babylon, build houses, and dwell in them, and plant gardens, and eat the fruit of them. Take wives, and father sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, and multiply there, and don't be diminished. Seek the peace of the city where I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray to Yahweh for it, for in its peace you shall have peace. For thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, don't let your prophets who are in the midst of you, and your diviners, deceive you, neither listen to your dreams which you cause to be dreamed. For they prophesy falsely to you in my name. I have not sent them, says Yahweh. For thus says Yahweh, after 70 years are accomplished for Babylon, I will visit you, and perform my good word toward you, in causing you to return to this place. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says Yahweh, thoughts of peace, and not of evil, to give you hope and a future. You shall call on me, and you shall go and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You shall seek me, and find me, when you shall search for me with all your heart. I will be found by you, says Yahweh, and I will turn again your captivity, and I will gather you from all the nations, and from all the places where I have driven you, says Yahweh. And I will bring you again to the place from where I caused you to be carried away captive. Because you have said, Yahweh has raised us up prophets in Babylon, thus says Yahweh concerning the king who sits on the throne of David, and concerning all the people who dwell in this city, your brothers who haven't gone forth with you into captivity. Thus says Yahweh of armies, Behold, I will send on and the sword, the famine, and the pestilence, and will make them like vile figs, that can't be eaten, they are so bad. I will pursue after them with the sword, with the famine, and with the pestilence, and will deliver them to be tossed back and forth among all the kingdoms of the earth, to be an object of horror, and an astonishment, and a hissing, and a reproach, among all the nations where I have driven them, because they have not listened to my words, says Yahweh, with which I sent to them my servants the prophets, rising up early and sending them, but you would not hear, says Yahweh. Hear therefore the word of Yahweh, all you of the captivity, whom I have sent away from Jerusalem to Babylon. Thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, concerning Ahab the son of Kaliah, and concerning Zedekiah the son of Maaseiah, who prophesy a lie to you in my name, behold, I will deliver them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon. And he shall kill them before your eyes, and of them shall be taken up a curse by all the captives of Judah who are in Babylon, saying, Yahweh make you like Zedekiah and like Ahab, whom the king of Babylon roasted in the fire. Because they have worked folly in Israel, and have committed adultery with their neighbors' wives, and have spoken words in my name falsely, which I didn't command them, and I am he who knows, and am witness, says Yahweh. Concerning Shemaiah the Nehelamite you shall speak, saying, Thus speaks Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, saying, Because you have sent letters in your own name to all the people who are at Jerusalem, and to Zephaniah the son of Maaseiah, the priest, and to all the priests, saying, Yahweh has made you priest in the place of Jehoiada the priest, that there may be offices in the house of Yahweh, for every man who is mad, and makes himself a prophet, that you should put him in the stocks and in shackles. Now therefore, why have you not rebuked Jeremiah of Anathoth, who makes himself a prophet to you, because he has sent to us in Babylon, saying, The captivity is long, build houses, and dwell in them, and plant gardens, and eat the fruit of them. Zephaniah the priest read this letter in the ears of Jeremiah the prophet. Then came the word of Yahweh to Jeremiah, saying, Send to all them of the captivity, saying, Thus says Yahweh concerning Shemaiah the Nehelamite, because Shemaiah has prophesied to you, and I didn't send him, and he has caused you to trust in a lie. Therefore thus says Yahweh, Behold, I will punish Shemaiah the Nehelamite, and his seed, he shall not have a man to dwell among this people, neither shall he see the good that I will do to my people, says Yahweh. Because he has spoken rebellion against Yahweh. Chapter 30, edit. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, Thus speaks Yahweh, the God of Israel, saying, Write all the words that I have spoken to you in a book. For, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will turn again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, says Yahweh, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. These are the words that Yahweh spoke concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus says Yahweh, We have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask now, and see whether a man does travail with child. Why do I see every man with his hands on his waist, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness? Alas! For that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. It shall come to pass in that day, says Yahweh of armies, that I will break his yoke from off your neck, and will burst your bonds, and strangers shall no more make him their bondservant, but they shall serve Yahweh their God, and David their king, whom I will raise up to them. Therefore don't ye be afraid, O Jacob my servant, says Yahweh, neither be dismayed, Israel, for, behold, I will save you from afar, and your seed from the land of their captivity, and Jacob shall return, and shall be quiet and at ease, and none shall make him afraid. For I am with you, says Yahweh, to save you, for I will make a full end of all the nations where I have scattered you, but I will not make a full end of you, but I will correct you in measure, and will in no way leave you unpunished. For thus says Yahweh, your hurt is incurable, and your wound grievous. There is none to plead your cause, that ye may be bound up, you have no healing medicines. All your lovers have forgotten you, they don't seek you, for I have wounded you with the wound of an enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one, for the greatness of your iniquity, because your sins were increased. Why do you cry for your hurt? Your pain is incurable, for the greatness of your iniquity, because your sins were increased. I have done these things to you. Therefore all those who devour you shall be devoured, and all your adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity, and those who despoil you shall be a spoil, and all who prey on you will I give for a prey. For I will restore health to you, and I will heal you of your wounds, says Yahweh, because they have called you an outcast, saying, It is Zion, whom no man seeks after. Thus says Yahweh, Behold, I will turn again the captivity of Jacob's tents, and have compassion on his dwelling places, and the city shall be built on its own hill, and the palace shall be inhabited after its own manner. Out of them shall proceed thanksgiving and the voice of those who make merry, and I will multiply them, and they shall not be few, I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small. Their children also shall be as before, and their congregation shall be established before me, and I will punish all who oppress them. Their prince shall be of themselves, and their ruler shall proceed from the midst of them, and I will cause him to draw near, and he shall approach to me, for who is he who has had boldness to approach to me? Says Yahweh. You shall be my people, and I will be your God. Behold, the storm of Yahweh, even his wrath, is gone forth, a sweeping storm, it shall burst on the head of the wicked. The fierce anger of Yahweh will not return, until he has executed, and until he has performed the intentions of his heart. In the latter days you will understand it. Chapter 31, edit. At that time, says Yahweh, will I be the God of all the families of Israel, and they shall be my people. Thus says Yahweh, the people who were left of the sword found favor in the wilderness, even Israel, when I went to cause him to rest. Yahweh appeared of old to me, saying, Yes, I have loved you with an everlasting love, therefore with loving kindness have I drawn you. Again will I build you, and you shall be built, O Virgin of Israel. Again you shall be adorned with your tambourines, and shall go forth in the dances of those who make merry. Again you shall plant vineyards on the mountains of Samaria, the planters shall plant, and shall enjoy its fruit. For there shall be a day, that the watchman on the hills of Ephraim shall cry, Arise, and let us go up to Zion to Yahweh our God. For thus says Yahweh, Sing with gladness for Jacob, and shout for the chief of the nations, publish, praise, and say, Yahweh, save your people, the remnant of Israel. Behold, I will bring them from the north country, and gather them from the uttermost parts of the earth, and with them the blind and the lame, the woman with child and her who travails with child together, a great company shall they return here. They shall come with weeping, and with petitions will I lead them. I will cause them to walk by rivers of waters, in a straight way in which they shall not stumble, for I am a father to Israel, and Ephraim is my firstborn. Hear the word of Yahweh, ye nations, and declare it in the islands afar off, and say, He who scattered Israel will gather him, and keep him, as shepherd as his flock. For Yahweh has ransomed Jacob, and redeemed him from the hand of him who was stronger than he. They shall come and sing in the height of Zion, and shall flow to the goodness of Yahweh, to the grain, and to the new wine, and to the oil, and to the young of the flock and of the herd. And their soul shall be as a watered garden, and they shall not sorrow any more at all. Then shall the virgin rejoice in the dance, and the young men and the old together, for I will turn their mourning into joy, and will comfort them, and make them rejoice from their sorrow. I will satiate the soul of the priests with fatness, and my people shall be satisfied with my goodness, says Yahweh. Thus says Yahweh, a voice is heard in Ramah, lamentation, and bitter weeping, Rachel weeping for her children, she refuses to be comforted for her children, because they are no more. Thus says Yahweh, refrain your voice from weeping, and your eyes from tears, for your work shall be rewarded, says Yahweh, and they shall come again from the land of the enemy. There is hope for your latter end, says Yahweh, and your children shall come again to their own border. I have surely heard Ephraim bemoaning himself thus, You have chastised me, and I was chastised, as a calf unaccustomed to the yoke, turn me, and I shall be turned, for you are Yahweh my God. Surely after that I was turned, I repented, and after that I was instructed, I struck on my thigh, I was ashamed, yes, even confounded, because I did bear the reproach of my youth. Is Ephraim my dear son? Is he a darling child? For as often as I speak against him, I do earnestly remember him still, therefore my heart yearns for him, I will surely have mercy on him, says Yahweh. Set up road signs, make guide posts, set your heart toward the highway, even the way by which ye went, turn again, Virgin of Israel, turn again to these your cities. How long will you go here and there, you backsliding daughter? For Yahweh has created a new thing in the earth, a woman shall encompass a man. Thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, yet again shall they use this speech in the land of Judah and in its cities, when I shall bring again their captivity. Yahweh bless you, habitation of righteousness, mountain of holiness. Judah and all its cities shall dwell therein together, the farmers, and those who go about with flocks. For I have satiated the weary soul, and every sorrowful soul have I replenished. On this I awakened, and saw, and my sleep was sweet to me. Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Judah with the seed of man, and with the seed of animal. It shall happen that, like as I have watched over them to pluck up and to break down and to overthrow and to destroy and to afflict, so will I watch over them to build and to plant, says Yahweh. In those days they shall say no more, the fathers have eaten sour grapes, and the children's teeth are set on edge. But everyone shall die for his own iniquity, every man who eats the sour grapes, his teeth shall be set on edge. Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel, and with the house of Judah. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they broke, although I was a husband to them, says Yahweh. But this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, says Yahweh, I will put my law in their inward parts, and in their heart will I write it, and I will be their God. And they shall be my people, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahweh, for they shall all know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them, says Yahweh. For I will forgive their iniquity, and their sin will I remember no more. Thus says Yahweh, who gives the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, who stirs up the sea, so that its waves roar, Yahweh of armies is his name. If these ordinances depart from before me, says Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. Thus says Yahweh, if heaven above can be measured, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, then will I also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, says Yahweh. Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that the city shall be built to Yahweh from the tower of Hananel to the gate of the corner. The measuring line shall go out further straight onward to the hill Gareb, and shall turn about to Goah. The whole valley of the dead bodies and of the ashes, and all the fields to the brook Kidron, to the corner of the horse gate toward the east, shall be holy to Yahweh, it shall not be plucked up, nor thrown down any more forever. Chapter 32, Edit. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh in the 10th year of Zedekiah king of Judah, which was the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar. Now at that time the king of Babylon's army was besieging Jerusalem, and Jeremiah the prophet was shut up in the court of the guard, which was in the king of Judah's house. For Zedekiah king of Judah had shut to him up, saying, Why do you prophesy, and say, Thus says Yahweh, Behold, I will give this city into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall take it. And Zedekiah king of Judah shall not escape out of the hand of the Chaldeans, but shall surely be delivered into the hand of the king of Babylon, and shall speak with him mouth to mouth, and his eyes shall see his eyes. And he shall bring Zedekiah to Babylon, and there shall he be until I visit him, says Yahweh. Though you fight with the Chaldeans, you shall not prosper. Jeremiah said, The word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Behold, Hanamel the son of Shallum your uncle shall come to you, saying, Buy my field that is in Anathoth, for the right of redemption is yours to buy it. So Hanamel my uncle's son came to me in the court of the guard according to the word of Yahweh, and said to me, Please buy my field that is in Anathoth, which is in the land of Benjamin. For the right of inheritance is yours, and the redemption is yours, buy it for yourself. Then I knew that this was the word of Yahweh. I bought the field that was in Anathoth of Hanamel my uncle's son, and weighed him the money, even 17 shekels of silver. I subscribed the deed, and sealed it, and called witnesses, and weighed him the money in the balances. So I took the deed of the purchase, both that which was sealed, containing the terms and conditions, and that which was open, and I delivered the deed of the purchase to Baruch the son of Neriah, the son of Maaseiah. In the presence of Hanamel my uncle's son, and in the presence of the witnesses who subscribed the deed of the purchase, before all the Jews who sat in the court of the guard. I commanded Baruch before them, saying, Thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, take these deeds, this deed of the purchase which is sealed, and this deed which is open, and put them in an earthen vessel, that they may continue many days. For thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, houses and fields and vineyards shall yet again be bought in this land. Now after I had delivered the deed of the purchase to Baruch the son of Neriah, I prayed to Yahweh, saying, Our Lord Yahweh, behold, you have made the heavens and the earth by your great power and by your outstretched arm, there is nothing too hard for you, who show loving kindness to thousands, and recompense the iniquity of the fathers into the bosom of their children after them. The great, the mighty God, Yahweh of armies is his name, great in counsel, and mighty in work, whose eyes are open on all the ways of the sons of men, to give everyone according to his ways, and according to the fruit of his doings, who performed signs and wonders in the land of Egypt, even to this day, both in Israel and among other men, and made yourself a name, as in this day, and brought forth your people Israel out of the land of Egypt with signs, and with wonders, and with a strong hand, and with an outstretched arm, and with great terror, and gave them this land, which you swore to their fathers to give them, a land flowing with milk and honey, and they came in, and possessed it, but they didn't obey your voice, neither walked in your law. They have done nothing of all that you commanded them to do, therefore you have caused all this evil to come on them. Behold, the mounds, they are come to the city to take it, and the city is given into the hand of the Chaldeans who fight against it, because of the sword, and of the famine, and of the pestilence. And what you have spoken has happened, and behold, you see it. You have said to me, Lord Yahweh, buy the field for money, and call witnesses, whereas the city is given into the hand of the Chaldeans. Then came the word of Yahweh to Jeremiah, saying, Behold, I am Yahweh, the God of all flesh, is there anything too hard for me? Therefore thus says Yahweh, Behold, I will give this city into the hand of the Chaldeans, and into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon, and he shall take it, and the Chaldeans, who fight against this city, shall come and set this city on fire, and burn it, with the houses on whose roofs they have offered incense to Baal, and poured out drink offerings to other gods, to provoke me to anger. For the children of Israel and the children of Judah have done only that which was evil in my sight from their youth, for the children of Israel have only provoked me to anger with the work of their hands, says Yahweh. For this city has been to me a provocation of my anger and of my wrath from the day that they built it even to this day, that I should remove it from before my face. Because of all the evil of the children of Israel and of the children of Judah, which they have done to provoke me to anger, they, their kings, their princes, their priests, and their prophets, and the men of Judah, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. They have turned to me the back, and not the face, and though I taught them, rising up early and teaching them, yet they have not listened to receive instruction. But they set their abominations in the house which is called by my name, to defile it. They built the high places of Baal, which are in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to cause their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire to Moloch, which I didn't command them, neither did it come into my mind, that they should do this abomination, to cause Judah to sin. Now therefore thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, concerning this city, about which you say, it is given into the hand of the king of Babylon by the sword, and by the famine, and by the pestilence, behold, I will gather them out of all the countries, where I have driven them in my anger, and in my wrath, and in great indignation, and I will bring them again to this place, and I will cause them to dwell safely. And they shall be my people, and I will be their God, and I will give them one heart and one way, that they may fear me forever, for the good of them, and of their children after them. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them, that I will not turn away from following them, to do them good, and I will put my fear in their hearts, that they may not depart from me. Yes, I will rejoice over them to do them good, and I will plant them in this land assuredly with my whole heart and with my whole soul. For thus says Yahweh, like as I have brought all this great evil on this people, so will I bring on them all the good that I have promised them. Fields shall be bought in this land, about which you say, it is desolate, without man or animal, it is given into the hand of the Chaldeans. Men shall buy fields for money, and subscribe the deeds, and seal them, and call witnesses, in the land of Benjamin, and in the places about Jerusalem, and in the cities of Judah, and in the cities of the hill country. and in the cities of the lowland, and in the cities of the south, for I will cause their captivity to return, says Yahweh. Chapter 33, Edit. Moreover the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah the second time, while he was yet shut up in the court of the guard, saying, Thus says Yahweh who does it, Yahweh who forms it to establish it, Yahweh is his name, call to me. And I will answer you, and will show you great things, and difficult, which ye don't know. For thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, concerning the houses of this city, and concerning the houses of the kings of Judah, which are broken down to make a defense against the mounds and against the sword. While men come to fight with the Chaldeans, and to fill them with the dead bodies of men, whom I have killed in my anger and in my wrath, and for all whose wickedness I have hid my face from this city, behold, I will bring it health and cure, and I will cure them, and I will reveal to them abundance of peace and truth. I will cause the captivity of Judah and the captivity of Israel to return, and will build them, as at the first. I will cleanse them from all their iniquity, by which they have sinned against me, and I will pardon all their iniquities, by which they have sinned against me, and by which they have transgressed against me. This city shall be to me for a name of joy, for a praise and for a glory, before all the nations of the earth, which shall hear all the good that I do to them, and shall fear and tremble for all the good and for all the peace that I procure to it. Thus says Yahweh, yet again there shall be heard in this place, about which ye say, It is waste, without man and without animal, even in the cities of Judah, and in the streets of Jerusalem, that are desolate. Without man and without inhabitant and without animal, the voice of joy and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, the voice of those who say, Give thanks to Yahweh of armies, for Yahweh is good. For his loving kindness endures forever, and of them he brings sacrifices of thanksgiving into the house of Yahweh. For I will cause the captivity of the land to return as at the first, says Yahweh. Thus says Yahweh of armies, yet again shall there be in this place, which is waste, without man and without animal, and in all its cities, a habitation of shepherds causing their flocks to lie down. In the cities of the hill country, in the cities of the lowland, and in the cities of the south, and in the land of Benjamin, and in the places about Jerusalem, and in the cities of Judah, shall the flocks again pass under the hands of him who numbers them, says Yahweh. Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will perform that good word which I have spoken concerning the house of Israel and concerning the house of Judah. In those days, and at that time, will I cause a branch of righteousness to grow up to David, and he shall execute justice and righteousness in the land. In those days shall Judah be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely, and this is the name by which she shall be called, Yahweh our righteousness. For thus says Yahweh, David shall never want a man to sit on the throne of the house of Israel, neither shall the priests the Levites want a man before me to offer burnt offerings, and to burn meal offerings, and to do sacrifice continually. The word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah, saying, Thus says Yahweh, if you can break my covenant of the day, and my covenant of the night, so that there shall not be day and night in their season, then may also my covenant be broken with David my servant, that he shall not have a son to reign on his throne, and with the Levites the priests, my ministers. As the army of the sky can't be numbered, neither the sand of the sea measured, so will I multiply the seed of David my servant, and the Levites who minister to me. The word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah, saying, Don't consider what this people has spoken, saying, The two families which Yahweh did choose, he has cast them off. Thus do they despise my people, that they should be no more a nation before them. Thus says Yahweh, if my covenant of day and night fails, if I have not appointed the ordinances of heaven and earth, then will I also cast away the seed of Jacob, and of David my servant, so that I will not take of his seed to be rulers over the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, for I will cause their captivity to return, and will have mercy on them. Chapter 34, Edit. The word which came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, when Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon, and all his army, and all the kingdoms of the earth that were under his dominion, and all the peoples, were fighting against Jerusalem, and against all the cities of it, saying, Thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, Go, and speak to Zedekiah king of Judah, and tell you him, Thus says Yahweh, Behold, I will give this city into the hand of the king of Babylon, and he shall burn it with fire. And you shall not escape out of his hand, but shall surely be taken, and delivered into his hand, and your eyes shall see the eyes of the king of Babylon, and he shall speak with you mouth to mouth. And you shall go to Babylon. Yet hear the word of Yahweh, O Zedekiah king of Judah, Thus says Yahweh concerning you, You shall not die by the sword, you shall die in peace, and with the burnings of your fathers, the former kings who were before you. So shall they make a burning for you, and they shall lament you, saying, Our Lord. For I have spoken the word, says Yahweh. Then Jeremiah the prophet spoke all these words to Zedekiah king of Judah in Jerusalem, when the king of Babylon's army was fighting against Jerusalem, and against all the cities of Judah that were left, against Lachish and against Azekah. For these alone remained of the cities of Judah as fortified cities. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, after that the king Zedekiah had made a covenant with all the people who were at Jerusalem, to proclaim liberty to them, that every man should let his male servant, and every man his female servant, who is a Hebrew or a Hebrewess, go free, that none should make bond servants of them, to wit, of a Jew his brother. All the princes and all the people obeyed, who had entered into the covenant, that everyone should let his male servant, and everyone his female servant, go free, that none should make bond servants of them any more. They obeyed, and let them go. But afterwards they turned, and caused the servants and the handmaids, whom they had let go free, to return, and brought them into subjection for servants and for handmaids. Therefore the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, Thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, I made a covenant with your fathers in the day that I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, saying, At the end of 7 years you shall let go every man his brother who is a Hebrew, who has been sold to you, and has served you 6 years, you shall let him go free from you. But your fathers didn't listen to me, neither inclined their ear. You had now turned, and had done that which is right in my eyes, in proclaiming liberty every man to his neighbor, and you had made a covenant before me in the house which is called by my name. But you turned and profaned my name, and caused every man his servant, and every man his handmaid, whom you had let go free at their pleasure, to return, and you brought them into subjection, to be to you for servants and for handmaids. Therefore thus says Yahweh, you have not listened to me, to proclaim liberty, every man to his brother, and every man to his neighbor. Behold, I proclaim to you a liberty, says Yahweh, to the sword, to the pestilence, and to the famine. And I will make you to be tossed back and forth among all the kingdoms of the earth. I will give the men who have transgressed my covenant, who have not performed the words of the covenant which they made before me, when they cut the calf in two and passed between its parts, the princes of Judah, and the princes of Jerusalem. The eunuchs, and the priests, and all the people of the land, who pass between the parts of the calf, I will even give them into the hand of their enemies, and into the hand of those who seek their life. And their dead bodies shall be for food to the birds of the sky, and to the animals of the earth. Zedekiah king of Judah and his princes will I give into the hand of their enemies, and into the hand of those who seek their life, and into the hand of the king of Babylon's army, who have gone away from you. Behold, I will command, says Yahweh, and cause them to return to this city, and they shall fight against it, and take it, and burn it with fire, and I will make the cities of Judah a desolation, without inhabitant. Chapter 35, Edit. The word which came to Jeremiah from Yahweh in the days of Jehoiakim the son of Josiah, king of Judah, saying, Go to the house of the Rechabites, and speak to them, and bring them into the house of Yahweh, into one of the chambers, and give them wine to drink. Then I took Jaazaniah the son of Jeremiah, the son of Habat senior, and his brothers, and all his sons, and the whole house of the Rechabites, and I brought them into the house of Yahweh, into the chamber of the sons of Hanan the son of Igdaliah, the man of God, which was by the chamber of the princes, which was above the chamber of Maaseiah the son of Shallum, the keeper of the threshold. I set before the sons of the house of the Rechabites bowls full of wine, and cups, and I said to them, Drink wine. But they said, We will drink no wine, for Jonadab the son of Rechab, our father, commanded us, saying, You shall drink no wine, neither you, nor your sons, forever, neither shall you build house, nor sow seed, nor plant vineyard, nor have any. But all your days you shall dwell in tents, that you may live many days in the land in which you sojourn. We have obeyed the voice of Jonadab the son of Rechab, our father, in all that he commanded us, to drink no wine all our days, we, our wives, our sons, or our daughters, nor to build houses for us to dwell in. Neither have we vineyard, nor field, nor seed, but we have lived in tents, and have obeyed, and done according to all that Jonadab our father commanded us. But it happened, when Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon came up into the land, that we said, Come, and let us go to Jerusalem for fear of the army of the Chaldeans, and for fear of the army of the Syrians, so we dwell at Jerusalem. Then came the word of Yahweh to Jeremiah, saying, Thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, Go, and tell the men of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, Will you not receive instruction to listen to my words? Says Yahweh. The words of Jonadab the son of Rechab, that he commanded his sons, not to drink wine, are performed, and to this day they drink none, for they obey their father's commandment. But I have spoken to you, rising up early and speaking. And you have not listened to me. I have sent also to you all my servants the prophets, rising up early and sending them, saying, Return now every man from his evil way, and amend your doings, and don't go after other gods to serve them. And you shall dwell in the land which I have given to you and to your fathers, but you have not inclined your ear, nor listened to me. Because the sons of Jonadab the son of Rechab have performed the commandment of their father which he commanded them, but this people has not listened to me, therefore thus says Yahweh, the God of armies, the God of Israel, Behold, I will bring on Judah and on all the inhabitants of Jerusalem all the evil that I have pronounced against them, because I have spoken to them, but they have not heard, and I have called to them, but they have not answered. Jeremiah said to the house of the Rechabites, Thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, because you have obeyed the commandment of Jonadab your father, and kept all his precepts, and done according to all that he commanded you. Therefore thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, Jonadab the son of Rechab shall not want a man to stand before me forever. Chapter 36, Edit. It happened in the 4th year of Jehoiakim the son of Josiah, king of Judah, that this word came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, Take a scroll of a book, and write therein all the words that I have spoken to you against Israel, and against Judah, and against all the nations, from the day I spoke to you, from the days of Josiah, even to this day. It may be that the house of Judah will hear all the evil which I purpose to do to them, that they may return every man from his evil way, that I may forgive their iniquity and their sin. Then Jeremiah called Baruch the son of Neriah, and Baruch wrote from the mouth of Jeremiah all the words of Yahweh, which he had spoken to him, on a scroll of a book. Jeremiah commanded Baruch, saying, I am shut up, I can't go into the house of Yahweh, therefore you go, and read in the scroll, which you have written from my mouth, the words of Yahweh in the ears of the people in Yahweh's house on the fast day, and also you shall read them in the ears of all Judah who come out of their cities. It may be they will present their supplication before Yahweh, and will return everyone from his evil way, for great is the anger and the wrath that Yahweh has pronounced against this people. Baruch the son of Neriah did according to all that Jeremiah the prophet commanded him, reading in the book the words of Yahweh in Yahweh's house. Now it happened in the 5th year of Jehoiakim the son of Josiah, king of Judah, in the 9th month, that all the people in Jerusalem, and all the people who came from the cities of Judah to Jerusalem, proclaimed a fast before Yahweh. Then read Baruch in the book the words of Jeremiah in the house of Yahweh, in the chamber of Gemariah the son of Shaphan, the scribe, in the upper court, at the entry of the new gate of Yahweh's house. In the ears of all the people. When Micaiah the son of Gemariah, the son of Shaphan, had heard out of the book all the words of Yahweh, he went down into the king's house, into the scribe's chamber, and behold, all the princes were sitting there, to wit, Elishama the scribe, and Delaiah the son of Shemaiah, and Elnathan the son of Akbor, and Gemariah the son of Shaphan, and Zedekiah the son of Hananiah, and all the princes. Then Micaiah declared to them all the words that he had heard, when Baruch read the book in the ears of the people. Therefore all the princes sent Jehudi the son of Nethaniah, the son of Shelemiah, the son of Koshi, to Baruch, saying, Take in your hands the scroll in which you have read in the ears of the people, and come. So Baruch the son of Neriah took the scroll in his hand, and came to them. They said to him, Sit down now, and read it in our ears. So Baruch read it in their ears. Now it happened, when they had heard all the words, they turned in fear one toward another, and said to Baruch, We will surely tell the king of all these words. They asked Baruch, saying, Tell us now, how did he write all these words at his mouth? Then Baruch answered them, He pronounced all these words to me with his mouth, and I wrote them with ink in the book. Then said the princes to Baruch, Go, hide, you and Jeremiah, and let no man know where you are. They went in to the king into the court, but they had laid up the scroll in the chamber of Elishama the scribe, and they told all the words in the ears of the king. So the king sent Jehudi to get the scroll, and he took it out of the chamber of Elishama the scribe. Jehudi read it in the ears of the king, and in the ears of all the princes who stood beside the king. Now the king was sitting in the winter house in the 9th month, and there was a fire in the brazier burning before him. It happened, when Jehudi had read 3 or 4 leaves, that the king cut it with the penknife, and cast it into the fire that was in the brazier, until all the scroll was consumed in the fire that was in the brazier. They were not afraid, nor tore their garments, neither the king, nor any of his servants who heard all these words. Moreover Elnathan and Delaiah and Gemariah had made intercession to the king that he would not burn the scroll, but he would not hear them. The king commanded Jeremiah the king's son, and Seraiah the son of Azriel, and Shelemiah the son of Abdiel, to take Baruch the scribe and Jeremiah the prophet, but Yahweh hid them. Then the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah, after that the king had burned the scroll, and the words which Baruch wrote at the mouth of Jeremiah, saying, Take again another scroll, and write in it all the former words that were in the first scroll, which Jehoiakim the king of Judah has burned. Concerning Jehoiakim king of Judah you shall say, Thus says Yahweh, you have burned this scroll, saying, Why have you written therein, saying, The king of Babylon shall certainly come and destroy this land, and shall cause to cease from there man and animal. Therefore thus says Yahweh concerning Jehoiakim king of Judah, he shall have none to sit on the throne of David, and his dead body shall be cast out in the day to the heat, and in the night to the frost. I will punish him and his seed and his servants for their iniquity, and I will bring on them, and on the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and on the men of Judah, all the evil that I have pronounced against them, but they didn't listen. Then took Jeremiah another scroll, and gave it to Baruch the scribe, the son of Neriah, who wrote therein from the mouth of Jeremiah all the words of the book which Jehoiakim king of Judah had burned in the fire. And there were added besides to them many like words. Chapter 37, edit. Zedekiah the son of Josiah reigned as king, instead of Coniah the son of Jehoiakim, whom Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon made king in the land of Judah. But neither he, nor his servants, nor the people of the land, did listen to the words of Yahweh, which he spoke by the prophet Jeremiah. Zedekiah the king sent Jehukal the son of Shelemiah, and Zephaniah the son of Maaseiah, the priest, to the prophet Jeremiah, saying, Pray now to Yahweh our God for us. Now Jeremiah came in and went out among the people, for they had not put him into prison. Pharaoh's army was come forth out of Egypt, and when the Chaldeans who were besieging Jerusalem heard news of them, they broke up from Jerusalem. Then came the word of Yahweh to the prophet Jeremiah, saying, Thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, you shall tell the king of Judah, who sent you to me to inquire of me, Behold, Pharaoh's army, which is come forth to help you, shall return to Egypt and to their own land. The Chaldeans shall come again, and fight against this city, and they shall take it, and burn it with fire. Thus says Yahweh, don't deceive yourselves, saying, The Chaldeans shall surely depart from us, for they shall not depart. For though you had struck the whole army of the Chaldeans who fight against you, and there remained but wounded men among them, yet would they rise up every man in his tent, and burn this city with fire. It happened that, when the army of the Chaldeans was broken up from Jerusalem for fear of Pharaoh's army, then Jeremiah went forth out of Jerusalem to go into the land of Benjamin, to receive his portion there, in the midst of the people. When he was in the gate of Benjamin, a captain of the guard was there, whose name was Erijah, the son of Shelemiah, the son of Hananiah, and he laid hold on Jeremiah the prophet, saying, You are falling away to the Chaldeans. Then said Jeremiah, It is false, I am not falling away to the Chaldeans. But he didn't listen to him, so Erijah laid hold on Jeremiah, and brought him to the princes. The princes were angry with Jeremiah and struck him and put him in prison in the house of Jonathan the scribe, for they had made that the prison. When Jeremiah was come into the dungeon house and into the cells, and Jeremiah had remained there many days, then Zedekiah the king sent and fetched him, and the king asked to him secretly in his house, and said, Is there any word from Yahweh? Jeremiah said, There is. He said also, You shall be delivered into the hand of the king of Babylon. Moreover Jeremiah said to King Zedekiah, Wherein have I sinned against you, or against your servants, or against this people, that you have put me in prison? Where now are your prophets who prophesied to you, saying, The king of Babylon shall not come against you, nor against this land? Now please hear, my lord the king, please let my supplication be presented before you, that you not cause me to return to the house of Jonathan the scribe, lest I die there. Then Zedekiah the king commanded, and they committed Jeremiah into the court of the guard, and they gave him daily a loaf of bread out of the baker's street, until all the bread in the city was spent. Thus Jeremiah remained in the court of the guard. Chapter 38 Edit. Shephatiah the son of Mattan, and Gedaliah the son of Pashhur, and Jukal the son of Shelemiah, and Pashhur the son of Malchijah, heard the words that Jeremiah spoke to all the people, saying, Thus says Yahweh. He who remains in this city shall die by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence, but he who goes forth to the Chaldeans shall live, and his life shall be to him for a prey, and he shall live. Thus says Yahweh, This city shall surely be given into the hand of the army of the king of Babylon, and he shall take it. Then the princes said to the king, Let this man, we pray you, be put to death, because he weakens the hands of the men of war who remain in this city, and the hands of all the people, in speaking such words to them. For this man doesn't seek the welfare of this people, but the hurt. Zedekiah the king said, Behold, he is in your hand, for the king is not he who can do anything against you. Then took they Jeremiah, and cast him into the dungeon of Malchijah the king's son, that was in the court of the guard, and they let down Jeremiah with cords. In the dungeon there was no water, but mire, and Jeremiah sank in the mire. Now when Ebedmelech the Ethiopian, a eunuch, who was in the king's house, heard that they had put Jeremiah in the dungeon, the king then sitting in the gate of Benjamin, Ebedmelech went forth out of the king's house, and spoke to the king, saying, My lord the king, these men have done evil in all that they have done to Jeremiah the prophet, whom they have cast into the dungeon, and he is likely to die in the place where he is, because of the famine. For there is no more bread in the city. Then the king commanded Ebedmelech the Ethiopian, saying, Take from hence 30 men with you, and take up Jeremiah the prophet out of the dungeon, before he dies. So Ebedmelech took the men with him, and went into the house of the king under the treasury, and took their rags and worn-out garments, and let them down by cords into the dungeon to Jeremiah. Ebedmelech the Ethiopian said to Jeremiah, Put now these rags and worn-out garments under your armpits under the cords. Jeremiah did so. So they drew up Jeremiah with the cords, and took him up out of the dungeon, and Jeremiah remained in the court of the guard. Then Zedekiah the king sent, and took Jeremiah the prophet to him into the third entry that is in the house of Yahweh, and the king said to Jeremiah, I will ask you something. Hide nothing from me. Then Jeremiah said to Zedekiah, If I declare it to you, will you not surely put me to death? And if I give you counsel, you will not listen to me. So Zedekiah the king swore secretly to Jeremiah, saying, As Yahweh lives, who made us this soul, I will not put you to death, neither will I give you into the hand of these men who seek your life. Then said Jeremiah to Zedekiah, Thus says Yahweh, the God of armies, the God of Israel, If you will go forth to the king of Babylon's princes, then your soul shall live, and this city shall not be burned with fire, and you shall live. And your house. But if you will not go forth to the king of Babylon's princes, then shall this city be given into the hand of the Chaldeans, and they shall burn it with fire, and you shall not escape out of their hand. Zedekiah the king said to Jeremiah, I am afraid of the Jews who have fallen away to the Chaldeans, lest they deliver me into their hand, and they mock me. But Jeremiah said, They shall not deliver you. Obey, I beg you, the voice of Yahweh, in that which I speak to you, so it shall be well with you, and your soul shall live. But if you refuse to go forth, this is the word that Yahweh has shown me, Behold, all the women who are left in the king of Judah's house shall be brought forth to the king of Babylon's princes, and those women shall say, Your familiar friends have set you on, and have prevailed over you, now that your feet are sunk in the mire, they have turned away back. They shall bring out all your wives and your children to the Chaldeans, and you shall not escape out of their hand, but shall be taken by the hand of the king of Babylon, and you shall cause this city to be burned with fire. Then said Zedekiah to Jeremiah, Let no man know of these words, and you shall not die. But if the princes hear that I have talked with you, and they come to you, and tell you, Declare to us now what you have said to the king, don't hide it from us, and we will not put you to death. Also what the king said to you, then you shall tell them, I presented my supplication before the king, that he would not cause me to return to Jonathan's house, to die there. Then came all the princes to Jeremiah, and asked him, and he told him according to all these words that the king had commanded. So they left off speaking with him, for the matter was not perceived. So Jeremiah abode in the court of the guard until the day that Jerusalem was taken. Chapter 39 Edit. It happened when Jerusalem was taken, in the 9th year of Zedekiah king of Judah, in the 10th month, came Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon and all his army against Jerusalem, and besieged it, in the 11th year of Zedekiah, in the 4th month. The 9th day of the month, a breach was made in the city, that all the princes of the king of Babylon came in, and sat in the middle gate, to wit, Nergal-Shazzar, Samgar-Nebo, Sarstem, Rabsaris, Nergal-Shazzar, Rabmug. with all the rest of the princes of the king of Babylon. It happened that, when Zedekiah the king of Judah and all the men of war saw them, then they fled, and went forth out of the city by night, by the way of the king's garden, through the gate between the two walls. And he went out toward the Arabah. But the army of the Chaldeans pursued after them, and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho, and when they had taken him, they brought him up to Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon to Riblah in the land of Hamath, and he gave judgment on him. Then the king of Babylon killed the sons of Zedekiah in Riblah before his eyes. Also the king of Babylon killed all the nobles of Judah. Moreover he put out Zedekiah's eyes, and bound him in fetters, to carry him to Babylon. The Chaldeans burned the king's house, and the houses of the people, with fire, and broke down the walls of Jerusalem. Then Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard carried away captive into Babylon the residue of the people who remained in the city, the deserters also who fell away to him, and the residue of the people who remained. But Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard left of the poor of the people, who had nothing, in the land of Judah, and gave them vineyards and fields at the same time. Now Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon commanded Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard concerning Jeremiah, saying, Take him, and look well to him, and do him no harm, but do to him even as he shall tell you. So Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard sent, and Nebuchadnezzar, Rabsaris, and Nergal-Shazzar, Rabmag, and all the chief officers of the king of Babylon, they sent, and took Jeremiah out of the court of the guard, and committed him to Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, that he should carry him home, so he lived among the people. Now the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah, while he was shut up in the court of the guard, saying, Go, and speak to Ebed-melech the Ethiopian, saying, Thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, Behold, I will bring my words on this city for evil, and not for good, and they shall be accomplished before you in that day. But I will deliver you in that day, says Yahweh, and you shall not be given into the hand of the men of whom you are afraid. For I will surely save you, and you shall not fall by the sword, but your life shall be for a prey to you, because you have put your trust in me, says Yahweh. Chapter 40, Edit. The word which came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, after that Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard had let him go from Ramah, when he had taken him being bound in chains among all the captives of Jerusalem and Judah, who were carried away captive to Babylon. The captain of the guard took Jeremiah, and said to him, Yahweh your God pronounced this evil on this place, and Yahweh has brought it, and done according as he spoke, because you have sinned against Yahweh, and have not obeyed his voice. Therefore this thing has come on you. Now, behold, I release you this day from the chains which are on your hand. If it seems good to you to come with me into Babylon, come, and I will take care of you, but if it seems bad to you to come with me into Babylon, don't. Behold, all the land is before you. Where it seems good and right to you to go, there go. Now while he was not yet gone back, go back then, said he, to Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, whom the king of Babylon has made governor over the cities of Judah, and dwell with him among the people. Or go wherever it seems right to you to go. So the captain of the guard gave him food and a present, and let him go. Then went Jeremiah to Gedaliah the son of Ahikam to Mizpah, and lived with him among the people who were left in the land. Now when all the captains of the forces who were in the fields, even they and their men, heard that the king of Babylon had made Gedaliah the son of Ahikam governor in the land, and had committed to him men, and women, and children, and of the poorest of the land, of those who were not carried away captive to Babylon, then they came to Gedaliah to Mizpah, to wit, Ishmael the son of Nethaniah, and Johanan and Jonathan the sons of Kareah, and Seraiah the son of Tanhumeth, and the sons of Aphi the Netophathite, and Jezaniah the son of the Marcathite, they and their men. Gedaliah the son of Ahikam the son of Shaphan swore to them and to their men, saying, Don't be afraid to serve the Chaldeans, dwell in the land, and serve the king of Babylon, and it shall be well with you. As for me, behold, I will dwell at Mizpah, to stand before the Chaldeans who shall come to us, but you, gather wine and summer fruits and oil, and put them in your vessels, and dwell in your cities that you have taken. Likewise when all the Jews who were in Moab, and among the children of Ammon, and in Edom, and who were in all the countries, heard that the king of Babylon had left a remnant of Judah, and that he had set over them Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, then all the Jews returned out of all places where they were driven, and came to the land of Judah, to Gedaliah, to Mizpah, and gathered wine and summer fruits very much. Moreover Johanan the son of Kareah, and all the captains of the forces who were in the fields, came to Gedaliah to Mizpah, and said to him, Do you know that Baalis the king of the children of Ammon has sent Ishmael the son of Nethaniah to take your life? But Gedaliah the son of Ahikam didn't believe them. Then Johanan the son of Kareah spoke to Gedaliah in Mizpah secretly, saying, Please let me go, and I will kill Ishmael the son of Nethaniah, and no man shall know it. Why should he take your life? That all the Jews who are gathered to you should be scattered, and the remnant of Judah perish. But Gedaliah the son of Ahikam said to Johanan the son of Kareah, You shall not do this thing, for you speak falsely of Ishmael. Chapter 41, Edit. Now it happened in the 7th month, that Ishmael the son of Nethaniah, the son of Elishama, of the seed royal and one of the chief officers of the king, and 10 men with him, came to Gedaliah the son of Ahikam to Mizpah. And there they ate bread together in Mizpah. Then arose Ishmael the son of Nethaniah, and the 10 men who were with him, and struck Gedaliah the son of Ahikam the son of Shaphan with the sword, and killed him, whom the king of Babylon had made governor over the land. Ishmael also killed all the Jews who were with him, to wit, with Gedaliah, at Mizpah, and the Chaldeans who were found there, the men of war. It happened the second day after he had killed Gedaliah, and no man knew it, that there came men from Shechem, from Shiloh, and from Samaria, even 80 men, having their beards shaved and their clothes torn, and having cut themselves, with meal offerings and frankincense in their hand, to bring them to the house of Yahweh. Ishmael the son of Nethaniah went forth from Mizpah to meet them, weeping all along as he went, and it happened, as he met them, he said to them, Come to Gedaliah the son of Ahikam. It was so, when they came into the midst of the city, that Ishmael the son of Nethaniah killed them, and cast them into the midst of the pit, he, and the men who were with him. But 10 men were found among those who said to Ishmael, Don't kill us, for we have stores hidden in the field, of wheat, and of barley, and of oil, and of honey. So he stopped, and didn't kill them among their brothers. Now the pit in which Ishmael cast all the dead bodies of the men whom he had killed, by the side of Gedaliah, the same was who which Asa the king had made for fear of Baasha king of Israel. Ishmael the son of Nethaniah filled it with those who were killed. Then Ishmael carried away captive all the residue of the people who were in Mizpah, even the king's daughters, and all the people who remained in Mizpah, whom Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard had committed to Gedaliah the son of Ahikam. Ishmael the son of Nethaniah carried them away captive, and departed to go over to the children of Ammon. But when Johanan the son of Pareah, and all the captains of the forces who were with him, heard of all the evil that Ishmael the son of Nethaniah had done, then they took all the men, and went to fight with Ishmael the son of Nethaniah, and found him by the great waters that are in Gibeon. Now it happened that, when all the people who were with Ishmael saw Johanan the son of Pareah, and all the captains of the forces who were with him, then they were glad. So all the people who Ishmael had carried away captive from Mizpah turned about and came back, and went to Johanan the son of Pareah. But Ishmael the son of Nethaniah escaped from Johanan with 8 men, and went to the children of Ammon. Then took Johanan the son of Pareah, and all the captains of the forces who were with him, all the remnant of the people whom he had recovered from Ishmael the son of Nethaniah, from Mizpah. After that he had killed Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, to wit, the men of war, and the women, and the children, and the eunuchs, whom he had brought back from Gibeon, and they departed, and lived in Jerith-Jimim, which is by Bethlehem, to go to enter into Egypt, because of the Chaldeans, for they were afraid of them, because Ishmael the son of Nethaniah had killed Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, whom the king of Babylon made governor over the land. Chapter 42, edit. Then all the captains of the forces, and Johanan the son of Pareah, and Jezaniah the son of Hoshea, and all the people from the least even to the greatest, came near, and said to Jeremiah the prophet, Let, we pray you, our supplication be presented before you, and pray for us to Yahweh your God, even for all this remnant, for we are left but a few of many, as your eyes do see us. That Yahweh your God may show us the way in which we should walk, and the thing that we should do. Then Jeremiah the prophet said to them, I have heard you, behold, I will pray to Yahweh your God according to your words, and it shall happen that whatever thing Yahweh shall answer you, I will declare it to you. I will keep nothing back from you. Then they said to Jeremiah, Yahweh be true and faithful witness among us, if we don't do according to all the word with which Yahweh your God shall send you to us. Whether it be good, or whether it be evil, we will obey the voice of Yahweh our God, to whom we send you, that it may be well with us, when we obey the voice of Yahweh our God. It happened after 10 days, that the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah. Then called he Johanan the son of Pareah, and all the captains of the forces who were with him, and all the people from the least even to the greatest, and said to them, Thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, to whom you sent me to present your supplication before him, if you will still abide in this land, then will I build you, and not pull you down, and I will plant you, and not pluck you up. For I grieve over the distress that I have brought on you. Don't be afraid of the king of Babylon, of whom you are afraid, don't be afraid of him, says Yahweh, for I am with you to save you, and to deliver you from his hand. I will grant you mercy, that he may have mercy on you, and cause you to return to your own land. But if you say, We will not dwell in this land, so that you don't obey the voice of Yahweh your God, saying, No, but we will go into the land of Egypt, where we shall see no war, nor hear the sound of the trumpet, nor have hunger of bread, and there will we dwell. Now therefore hear the word of Yahweh, O remnant of Judah, thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel. If you indeed set your faces to enter into Egypt, and go to sojourn there, then it shall happen, that the sword, which you fear, shall overtake you there in the land of Egypt, and the famine, about which you are afraid, shall follow close behind you there in Egypt, and there you shall die. So shall it be with all the men who set their faces to go into Egypt to sojourn there, they shall die by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence. And none of them shall remain or escape from the evil that I will bring on them. For thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, as my anger and my wrath has been poured forth on the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so shall my wrath be poured forth on you, when you shall enter into Egypt. And you shall be an object of horror, and an astonishment, and a curse, and a reproach, and you shall see this place no more. Yahweh has spoken concerning you, remnant of Judah, don't you go into Egypt, know certainly that I have testified to you this day. For you have dealt deceitfully against your own souls, for you sent me to Yahweh your God, saying, Pray for us to Yahweh our God, and according to all that Yahweh our God shall say, so declare to us, and we will do it. And I have this day declared it to you, but you have not obeyed the voice of Yahweh your God in anything for which he has sent me to you. Now therefore know certainly that you shall die by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence, in the place where you desire to go to sojourn there. Chapter 43, edit. It happened that, when Jeremiah had made an end of speaking to all the people all the words of Yahweh their God, with which Yahweh their God had sent him to them, even all these words, then spoke Azariah the son of Hoshea, and Johanan the son of Pareah, and all the proud men, saying to Jeremiah, You speak falsely. Yahweh our God has not sent you to say, You shall not go into Egypt to sojourn there. But Baruch the son of Neriah sets you on against us, to deliver us into the hand of the Chaldeans, that they may put us to death, and carry us away captive to Babylon. So Johanan the son of Pareah, and all the captains of the forces, and all the people, didn't obey the voice of Yahweh, to dwell in the land of Judah. But Johanan the son of Pareah, and all the captains of the forces, took all the remnant of Judah, who were returned from all the nations where they had been driven, to sojourn in the land of Judah, the men, and the women, and the children, and the king's daughters, and every person who Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard had left with Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, and Jeremiah the prophet, and Baruch the son of Neriah. And they came into the land of Egypt, for they didn't obey the voice of Yahweh, and they came to Tarpanas. Then came the word of Yahweh to Jeremiah in Tarpanas, saying, Take great stones in your hand, and hide them in mortar in the brickwork, which is at the entry of Pharaoh's house in Tarpanas, in the sight of the men of Judah. And tell them, Thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, Behold, I will send and take Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon, my servant, and will set his throne on these stones that I have hidden. And he shall spread his royal pavilion over them. He shall come, and shall strike the land of Egypt, such as if a death shall be given to death, and such as if a captivity to captivity, and such as if a the sword to the sword. I will kindle a fire in the houses of the gods of Egypt, and he shall burn them, and carry them away captive, and he shall array himself with the land of Egypt, as a shepherd puts on his garment. And he shall go forth from there in peace. He shall also break the pillars of Beth Shemesh, that is in the land of Egypt, and the houses of the gods of Egypt shall he burn with fire. Chapter 44, Edit. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the Jews who lived in the land of Egypt, who lived at Migdol, and at Tarpanas, and at Memphis, and in the country of Pathros, saying, Thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel. You have seen all the evil that I have brought on Jerusalem, and on all the cities of Judah, and behold, this day they are desolation, and no man dwells therein, because of their wickedness which they have committed to provoke me to anger. In that they went to burn incense, and to serve other gods, that they didn't know, neither they, nor you, nor your fathers. However I sent to you all my servants the prophets, rising up early and sending them, saying, Oh, don't do this abominable thing that I hate. But they didn't listen, nor inclined their ear to turn from their wickedness, to burn no incense to other gods. Therefore my wrath and my anger was poured forth, and was kindled in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem, and they are wasted and desolate, as it is this day. Therefore now thus says Yahweh, the God of armies, the God of Israel, Why do you commit great evil against your own souls, to cut off from yourselves man and woman, infant and suckling, out of the midst of Judah, to leave yourselves none remaining? In that you provoke me to anger with the works of your hands, burning incense to other gods in the land of Egypt, where you have gone to sojourn, that you may be cut off, and that you may be a curse and a reproach among all the nations of the earth. Have you forgotten the wickedness of your fathers, and the wickedness of the kings of Judah, and the wickedness of their wives, and your own wickedness, and the wickedness of your wives which they committed in the land of Judah, and in the streets of Jerusalem? They are not humbled even to this day, neither have they feared, nor walked in my law, nor in my statutes, that I set before you and before your fathers. Therefore thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, Behold, I will set my face against you for evil, even to cut off all Judah. I will take the remnant of Judah, that have set their faces to go into the land of Egypt to sojourn there, and they shall all be consumed. In the land of Egypt shall they fall. They shall be consumed by the sword and by the famine. They shall die, from the least even to the greatest, by the sword and by the famine, and they shall be an object of horror, and an astonishment, and a curse, and a reproach. For I will punish those who dwell in the land of Egypt, as I have punished Jerusalem, by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence, so that none of the remnant of Judah, who have gone into the land of Egypt to sojourn there, shall escape or be left to return into the land of Judah, to which they have a desire to return to dwell there, for none shall return save such as shall escape. Then all the men who knew that their wives burned incense to other gods, and all the women who stood by, a great assembly, even all the people who lived in the land of Egypt, in Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, As for the word that you have spoken to us in the name of Yahweh, we will not listen to you. But we will certainly perform every word that is gone forth out of our mouth, to burn incense to the Queen of the Sky, and to pour out drink offerings to her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings and our princes, in the cities of Judah, and in the streets of Jerusalem, for then had we plenty of food, and were well, and saw no evil. But since we left off burning incense to the Queen of the Sky, and pouring out drink offerings to her, we have wanted all things, and have been consumed by the sword and by the famine. When we burned incense to the Queen of the Sky, and poured out drink offerings to her, did we make her cakes to worship her, and pour out drink offerings to her, without our husbands? Then Jeremiah said to all the people, to the men, and to the women, even to all the people who had given him an answer, saying, The incense that you burned in the cities of Judah, and in the streets of Jerusalem, you and your fathers, your kings and your princes, and the people of the land, didn't Yahweh remember them, and didn't it come into his mind? So that Yahweh could no longer bear, because of the evil of your doings, and because of the abominations which you have committed, therefore your land has become a desolation, and an astonishment, and a curse, without inhabitant, as it is this day. Because you have burned incense, and because you have sinned against Yahweh, and have not obeyed the voice of Yahweh, nor walked in his law, nor in his statutes, nor in his testimonies, therefore this evil has happened to you, as it is this day. Moreover Jeremiah said to all the people, and to all the women, Hear the word of Yahweh, all Judah who are in the land of Egypt, thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, saying, You and your wives have both spoken with your mouths, and with your hands have fulfilled it, saying, We will surely perform our vows that we have vowed, to burn incense to the Queen of the sky, and to pour out drink offerings to her. Establish then your vows, and perform your vows. Therefore hear the word of Yahweh, all Judah who dwell in the land of Egypt, Behold, I have sworn by my great name, says Yahweh, that my name shall no more be named in the mouth of any man of Judah in all the land of Egypt, saying, As the Lord Yahweh lives. Behold, I watch over them for evil, and not for good, and all the men of Judah who are in the land of Egypt shall be consumed by the sword and by the famine, until there be an end of them. Those who escape the sword shall return out of the land of Egypt into the land of Judah, few in number, and all the remnant of Judah, who have gone into the land of Egypt to sojourn there, shall know whose word shall stand, mine or theirs. This shall be the sign to you, says Yahweh, that I will punish you in this place, that you may know that my word shall surely stand against you for evil. Thus says Yahweh, Behold, I will give Pharaoh Hophra king of Egypt into the hand of his enemies, and into the hand of those who seek his life, as I gave Zedekiah king of Judah into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon, who was his enemy, and sought his life. Chapter 45, Edit. The message that Jeremiah the prophet spoke to Baruch the son of Neriah, when he wrote these words in a book of the mouth of Jeremiah, in the 4th year of Jehoiakim the son of Josiah, king of Judah, saying, Thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, to you, Baruch, you said, Woe is me now. For Yahweh has added sorrow to my pain, I am weary with my groaning, and I find no rest. You shall tell him, Thus says Yahweh, Behold, that which I have built will I break down, and that which I have planted I will pluck up, and this in the whole land. Do seek great things for yourself. Don't seek them, for, behold, I will bring evil on all flesh, says Yahweh, but your life will I give to you for a prey in all places where you go. Chapter 46, Edit. The word of Yahweh which came to Jeremiah the prophet concerning the nations of Egypt, concerning the army of Pharaoh Necho king of Egypt, which was by the river Euphrates in Carchemish, which Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon struck in the 4th year of Jehoiakim the son of Josiah, king of Judah. Prepare the buckler and shield, and draw near to battle. Harness the horses, and get up, you horsemen, and stand forth with your helmets, furbish the spears, put on the coats of mail. Why have I seen it? They are dismayed and are turned backward, and their mighty ones are beaten down, and have fled apace, and don't look back, terror is on every side, says Yahweh. Don't let the swift flee away, nor the mighty man escape. In the north by the river Euphrates have they stumbled and fallen. Who is this who rises up like the Nile, whose waters toss themselves like the rivers? Egypt rises up like the Nile, and his waters toss themselves like the rivers, and he says, I will rise up, I will cover the earth, I will destroy cities and its inhabitants. Go up, you horses, and rage, you chariots, and let the mighty men go forth, Cush and Put, who handle the shield, and the Ludim, who handle and bend the bow. For that day is a day of the Lord, Yahweh of armies, a day of vengeance, that he may avenge him of his adversaries, and the sword shall devour and be satiate, and shall drink its fill of their blood, for the Lord, Yahweh of armies, has a sacrifice in the north country by the river Euphrates. Go up into Gilead, and take balm, virgin daughter of Egypt, in vain do you use many medicines, there is no healing for you. The nations have heard of your shame, and the earth is full of your cry, for the mighty man has stumbled against the mighty, they have fallen both of them together. The word that Yahweh spoke to Jeremiah the prophet, how the Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon should come and strike the land of Egypt. Declare in Egypt, and publish in Migdol, and publish in Memphis and in Tahpanhes, say, Stand forth, and prepare, for the sword has devoured around you. Why are your strong ones swept away? They didn't stand, because Yahweh did drive them. He made many to stumble, yes, they fell one on another, and they said, Arise, and let us go again to our own people, and to the land of our birth, from the oppressing sword. They cried there, Pharaoh king of Egypt is but a noise, he has let the appointed time pass by. As I live, says the king, whose name is Yahweh of armies, surely like Tabor among the mountains, and like Carmel by the sea, so shall he come. You daughter who dwells in Egypt, furnish yourself to go into captivity, for Memphis shall become a desolation, and shall be burnt up, without inhabitant. Egypt is a very beautiful heifer, but destruction out of the north is come, it is come. Also her hired men in the midst of her are like calves of a stall, for they also are turned back, they are fled away together, they didn't stand, for the day of their calamity is come on them, the time of their visitation. The sound of it shall go like the serpent, for they shall march with an army, and come against her with axes, as woodcutters. They shall cut down her forest, says Yahweh, though it can't be searched, because they are more than the locusts, and are innumerable. The daughter of Egypt shall be disappointed, she shall be delivered into the hand of the people of the north. Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, says, Behold, I will punish Ammon of No, and Pharaoh, and Egypt, with her gods, and her kings, even Pharaoh, and those who trust in him. And I will deliver them into the hand of those who seek their lives, and into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon, and into the hand of his servants, and afterwards it shall be inhabited, as in the days of old, says Yahweh. But don't you be afraid, Jacob my servant, neither be dismayed, Israel, for, behold, I will save you from afar, and your seed from the land of their captivity, and Jacob shall return, and shall be quiet and at ease. And none shall make him afraid. Don't you be afraid, O Jacob my servant, says Yahweh, for I am with you, for I will make a full end of all the nations where I have driven you, but I will not make a full end of you. But I will correct you in measure, and will in no way leave you unpunished. Chapter 47, edit. The word of Yahweh that came to Jeremiah the prophet concerning the Philistines, before that Pharaoh struck Gaza. Thus says Yahweh, behold, waters rise up out of the north, and shall become an overflowing stream, and shall overflow the land and all that is therein, the city and those who dwell therein, and the men shall cry, and all the inhabitants of the land shall wail. At the noise of the stamping of the hoofs of his strong ones, at the rushing of his chariots, at the rumbling of his wheels, the fathers don't look back to their children for feebleness of hands. Because of the day that comes to destroy all the Philistines, to cut off from Tyre and Sidon every helper who remains, for Yahweh will destroy the Philistines, the remnant of the Isle of Kaphtor. Baldness is come on Gaza, Ashkelon is brought to nothing, the remnant of their valley, how long will you cut yourself? You sword of Yahweh, how long will it be before you be quiet? Put up yourself into your scabbard, rest, and be still. How can you be quiet, seeing Yahweh has given you a command? Against Ashkelon and against the seashore, there has he appointed it. Chapter 48, edit. Of Moab, thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, woe to Nebo, for it is laid waste, Kiriaim is disappointed, it is taken, Misgab is put to shame and broken down. The praise of Moab is no more, in Heshbon they have devised evil against her, come, and let us cut her off from being a nation. You also, madmen, shall be brought to silence, the sword shall pursue you. The sound of a cry from Horonaim, desolation and great destruction. Moab is destroyed, her little ones have caused a cry to be heard. For by the ascent of Luith with continual weeping shall they go up, for at the descent of Horonaim they have heard the distress of the cry of destruction. Flee, save your lives, and be like the heath in the wilderness. For, because you have trusted in your works and in your treasures, you also shall be taken, and Chemosh shall go forth into captivity, his priests and his princes together. The destroyer shall come on every city, and no city shall escape, the valley also shall perish, and the plain shall be destroyed, as Yahweh has spoken. Give wings to Moab, that she may fly and get her away, and her cities shall become a desolation, without any to dwell therein. Cursed is he who does the work of Yahweh negligently, and cursed is he who keeps back his sword from blood. Moab has been at ease from his youth, and he has settled on his lees, and has not been emptied from vessel to vessel, neither has he gone into captivity, therefore his taste remains in him, and his scent is not changed. Therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will send to him those who pour off, and they shall pour him off, and they shall empty his vessels, and break their bottles in pieces. Moab shall be ashamed of Chemosh, as the house of Israel was ashamed of Bethel their confidence. How do you say, we are mighty men, and valiant men for the war? Moab is laid waste, and they are gone up into his cities, and his chosen young men are gone down to the slaughter, says the king, whose name is Yahweh of armies. The calamity of Moab is near to come, and his affliction hurries fast. All you who are around him, bemoan him, and all you who know his name, say, how is the strong staff broken, the beautiful rod? You daughter who dwells in Dibon, come down from your glory, and sit in thirst, for the destroyer of Moab has come up against you, he has destroyed your strongholds. Inhabitant of Aroer, stand by the way, and watch, ask him who flees, and her who escapes, say, what has been done? Moab is disappointed, for it is broken down, wail and cry, tell it by the Arnon, that Moab is laid waste. Judgment is come on the plain country, on Holin, and on Jazer, and on Mephath, and on Dibon, and on Nebo, and on Beth Diblathaim, and on Kiriahim, and on Beth Gamel, and on Beth Meon, and on Kerioth, and on Bozrah, and on all the cities of the land of Moab, far or near. The horn of Moab is cut off, and his arm is broken, says Yahweh. Make him drunken, for he magnified himself against Yahweh, and Moab shall wallow in his vomit, and he also shall be in derision. For wasn't Israel a derision to you? Was he found among thieves? For as often as you speak of him, you shake your head. You inhabitants of Moab, leave the cities, and dwell in the rock, and be like the dove that makes her nest over the mouth of the abyss. We have heard of the pride of Moab, that he is very proud, his loftiness, and his pride, and his arrogance, and the haughtiness of his heart. I know his wrath, says Yahweh, that it is nothing, his boastings have worked nothing. Therefore will I wail for Moab, yes, I will cry out for all Moab, for the men of Kir shall they mourn. With more than the weeping of Jazer will I weep for you, vine of Sibmah, your branches passed over the sea, they reached even to the sea of Jazer, on your summer fruits and on your vintage the destroyer is fallen. Gladness and joy is taken away from the fruitful field and from the land of Moab, and I have caused wine to cease from the wine presses, none shall tread with shouting, the shouting shall be no shouting. From the cry of Heshbon even to Elealeh, even to Jahaz have they uttered their voice, from Zoar even to Horonaim to Eglath-Shelishiyah, for the waters of Nimrim also shall become desolate. Moreover I will cause to cease in Moab, says Yahweh, him who offers in the high place, and him who burns incense to his gods. Therefore my heart sounds for Moab like pipes, and my heart sounds like pipes for the men of Kir therefore the abundance that he has gotten is perished. For every head is bald, and every beard clipped, on all the hands are cuttings, and on the waist sackcloth. On all the housetops of Moab and in its streets there is lamentation everywhere, for I have broken Moab like a vessel in which none delights, says Yahweh. How is it broken down? How do they wail? How has Moab turned back with shame? So shall Moab become a derision and a terror to all who are around him. For thus says Yahweh, behold, he shall fly as an eagle, and shall spread out his wings against Moab. Kerioth is taken, and the strongholds are seized, and the heart of the mighty men of Moab at that day shall be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. Moab shall be destroyed from being a people, because he has magnified himself against Yahweh. Fear, and the pit, and the snare are on you, inhabitant of Moab, says Yahweh. He who flees from the fear shall fall into the pit, and he who gets up out of the pit shall be taken in the snare, for I will bring on him, even on Moab, the year of their visitation, says Yahweh. Those who fled stand without strength under the shadow of Heshbon, for a fire is gone forth out of Heshbon, and a flame from the midst of Sihon, and has devoured the corner of Moab, and the crown of the head of the tumultuous ones. Woe to you, O Moab, the people of Chemosh is undone, for your sons are taken away captive, and your daughters into captivity. Yet will I bring back the captivity of Moab in the latter days, says Yahweh. Thus far is the judgment of Moab. Chapter 49, Edit. Of the children of Ammon. Thus says Yahweh, has Israel no sons? Has he Noah? Why then does Malcham possess Gad, and his people well in its cities? Therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will cause an alarm of war to be heard against Rabbah of the children of Ammon, and it shall become a desolate heap, and her daughters shall be burned with fire. Then shall Israel possess those who did possess him, says Yahweh. Wail, Heshbon, for I is laid waste. Cry, ye daughters of Rabbah, dress yourself in sackcloth, lament, and run back and forth among the fences, for Malcham shall go into captivity, his priests and his princes together. Why do you glory in the valleys, your flowing valley, backsliding daughter? Who trusted in her treasures, saying, who shall come to me? Behold, I will bring a fear on you, says the Lord, Yahweh of armies, from all who are around you, and you shall be driven out every man right forth, and there shall be none to gather together the fugitives. But afterward I will bring back the captivity of the children of Ammon, says Yahweh. Of Edom, thus says Yahweh of armies, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel pairs from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Flee, turn back, dwell in the depths, inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau on him, the time that I shall visit him. If grape gatherers came to you, would they not leave some gleaning grapes? If thieves by night, wouldn't they destroy until they had enough? But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is destroyed, and his brothers, and his neighbors, and he is no more. Leave your fatherless children, I will preserve them alive, and let your widows trust in me. For thus says Yahweh, behold, they to whom it didn't pertain to drink of the cup shall certainly drink, and are you he who shall altogether go unpunished? You shall not go unpunished, but you shall surely drink. For I have sworn by myself, says Yahweh, that Bozrah shall become an astonishment, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all its cities shall be perpetual wastes. I have heard news from Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the nations, saying, gather yourselves together, and come against her, and rise up to the battle. For, behold, I have made you small among the nations, and despised among men. As for your terror, the pride of your heart has deceived you, O you who dwell in the clefts of the rock, who hold the height of the hill, though you should make your nest as high as the eagle. I will bring you down from there, says Yahweh. Edom shall become an astonishment, everyone who passes by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all its plagues. As in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities of it, says Yahweh, no man shall dwell there, neither shall any son of man sojourn therein. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the pride of the Jordan against the strong habitation, for I will suddenly make them run away from it, and whoever is chosen, him will I appoint over it, for who is like me? And who will appoint me a time? And who is the shepherd who will stand before me? Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh, that he has taken against Edom, and his purposes, that he has purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely they shall drag them away, even the little ones of the flock. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate over them. The earth trembles at the noise of their fall, there is a cry, the noise which is heard in the Red Sea. Behold, he shall come up and fly as the eagle, and spread out his wings against Bozrah, and the heart of the mighty men of Edom at that day shall be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. Of Damascus. Hamath is confounded, and Arpad, for they have heard evil news, they are melted away, there is sorrow on the sea, it can't be quiet. Damascus has grown feeble, she turns herself to flee, and trembling has seized on her, anguish and sorrows have taken hold of her, as of a woman in travail. How is the city of praise not forsaken, the city of my joy? Therefore her young men shall fall in her streets, and all the men of war shall be brought to silence in that day, says Yahweh of armies. I will kindle a fire in the wall of Damascus, and it shall devour the palaces of Ben-Hadad, of Kedar, and of the kingdoms of Hazor, which Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon struck. Thus says Yahweh, arise, go up to Kedar, and destroy the children of the east. Their tents and their flocks shall they take, they shall carry away for themselves their curtains, and all their vessels, and their camels, and they shall cry to them, terror on every side. Flee, wander far off, dwell in the depths, you inhabitants of Hazor, says Yahweh, for Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon has taken counsel against you, and has conceived a purpose against you. Arise, go up to a nation that is at ease, that dwells without care, says Yahweh, that have neither gates nor bars, that dwell alone. Their camels shall be a booty, and the multitude of their livestock a spoil, and I will scatter to all winds those who have the corners of their hair cut off, and I will bring a calamity from every side of them, says Yahweh. Hazor shall be a dwelling place of jackals, a desolation forever, no man shall dwell there, neither shall any son of man sojourn therein. The word of Yahweh that came to Jeremiah the prophet concerning Elam, in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah king of Judah, saying, Thus says Yahweh of armies, Behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might. On Elam will I bring the four winds from the four quarters of the sky, and will scatter them toward all those winds, and there shall be no nation where the outcasts of Elam shall not come. I will cause Elam to be dismayed before their enemies, and before those who seek their life, and I will bring evil on them, even my fierce anger, says Yahweh, and I will send the sword after them, until I have consumed them. And I will set my throne in Elam, and will destroy from their king and princes, says Yahweh. But it shall happen in the latter days, that I will bring back the captivity of Elam, says Yahweh. Chapter 50, Edit. The word that Yahweh spoke concerning Babylon, concerning the land of the Chaldeans, by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare among the nations and publish, and set up a standard, publish, and don't conceal, say, Babylon is taken, Bel is disappointed, Merodach is dismayed, her images are disappointed, her idols are dismayed. For out of the north there comes up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein, they are fled, they are gone, both man and animal. In those days, and in that time, says Yahweh, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, they shall go on their way weeping, and shall seek Yahweh their God. They shall inquire concerning Zion with their faces turned toward it, saying, Come, and join yourselves to Yahweh in an everlasting covenant that shall not be forgotten. My people have been lost sheep, their shepherds have caused them to go astray, they have turned them away on the mountains, they have gone from mountain to hill, they have forgotten their resting place. All who found them have devoured them, and their adversary said, We are not guilty, because they have sinned against Yahweh, the habitation of righteousness, even Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the male goats before the flocks. For, behold, I will stir up and cause to come up against Babylon a company of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her, from there she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of an expert mighty man, none shall return in vain. Chaldea shall be a prey, all who prey on her shall be satisfied, says Yahweh. Because you are glad, because you rejoice, O you who plunder my heritage, because you are wanton as a heifer that treads out the grain, and they as strong horses, your mother shall be utterly disappointed, she who bore you shall be confounded, behold. She shall be the least of the nations, a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. Because of the wrath of Yahweh she shall not be inhabited, but she shall be wholly desolate. Everyone who goes by Babylon shall be astonished, and hiss at all her plagues. Set yourselves in array against Babylon all around, all you who bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she has sinned against Yahweh. Shout against her all around, she has submitted herself, her bulwarks are fallen, her walls are thrown down, for it is the vengeance of Yahweh, take vengeance on her, as she has done, do to her. Cut off the sower from Babylon, and him who handles the sickle in the time of harvest, for fear of the oppressing sword they shall turn everyone to his people, and they shall flee everyone to his own land. Israel is a hunted sheep, the lions have driven him away, first, the king of Assyria devoured him, and now at last Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon has broken his bones. Therefore thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, Behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land, as I have punished the king of Assyria. I will bring Israel again to his pasture, and he shall feed on Carmel and Bashan, and his soul shall be satisfied on the hills of Ephraim and in Gilead. In those days, and in that time, says Yahweh, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none, and the sins of Judah, and they shall not be found, for I will pardon them whom I leave as a remnant. Go up against the land of Merathaim, even against it, and against the inhabitants of Pekod, kill and utterly destroy after them, says Yahweh, and do according to all that I have commanded you. A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut apart and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for you, and you are also taken, Babylon, and you weren't aware, you are found, and also caught, because you have striven against Yahweh. Yahweh has opened his armory, and has brought forth the weapons of his indignation, for the Lord, Yahweh of armies, has a work to do in the land of the Chaldeans. Come against her from the utmost border, open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly, let nothing of her be left. Kill all her bulls, let them go down to the slaughter, woe to them. For their day is come, the time of their visitation. The voice of those who flee and escape out of the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion the vengeance of Yahweh our God, the vengeance of his temple. Call together the archers against Babylon, all those who bend the bow, encamp against her all around, let none of it escape, recompense her according to her work, according to all that she has done, do to her, for she has been proud against Yahweh. Against the Holy One of Israel. Therefore her young men will fall in her streets, and all her men of war will be brought to silence in that day, says Yahweh. Behold, I am against you, you proud one, says the Lord, Yahweh of armies, for your day has come, the time that I will visit you. The proud one shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up, and I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all who are around him. Thus says Yahweh of armies, the children of Israel and the children of Judah are oppressed together, and all who took them captive hold them fast, they refuse to let them go. Their Redeemer is strong, Yahweh of armies is his name, he will thoroughly plead a cause that he may give rest to the earth, and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. A sword is on the Chaldeans, says Yahweh, and on the inhabitants of Babylon, and on her princes, and on her wise men. A sword is on the boasters, and they shall become fools, a sword is on her mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. A sword is on their horses, and on their chariots, and on all the mixed people who are in the midst of her, and they shall become as women, a sword is on her treasures, and they shall be robbed. A drought is on her waters, and they shall be dried up, for it is a land of engraved images, and they are mad over idols. Therefore the wild animals of the desert with the wolves shall dwell there, and the ostriches shall dwell therein, and it shall be no more inhabited forever, neither shall it be lived in from generation to generation. As when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities of it, says Yahweh, so shall no man dwell there, neither shall any son of man sojourn therein. Behold, a people comes from the north, and a great nation and many kings shall be stirred up from the uttermost parts of the earth. They lay hold on bow and spear, they are cruel, and have no mercy, their voice roars like the sea, and they ride on horses, everyone set in array, as a man to the battle, against you, daughter of Babylon. The king of Babylon has heard the news of them, and his hands wax feeble, anguish has taken hold of him, and pangs as of a woman in travail. Behold, the enemy shall come up like a lion from the pride of the Jordan against the strong habitation, for I will suddenly make them run away from it, and whoever is chosen, him will I appoint over it, for who is like me? And who will appoint me a time? And who is the shepherd who can stand before me? Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh, that he has taken against Babylon, and his purposes, that he has purposed against the land of the Chaldeans, surely they shall drag them away, even the little ones of the flock. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate over them. At the noise of the taking of Babylon the earth trembles, and the cry is heard among the nations. Chapter 51, Edit. Thus says Yahweh, Behold, I will raise up against Babylon, and against those who dwell in Lebkamai, a destroying wind. I will send to Babylon strangers, who shall winnow her, and they shall empty her land, for in a day of trouble they shall be against her around. Against him who bends let the archer bend his bow, and against him who lifts himself up in his coat of mail, and don't spare her young men, utterly destroy all her army. They shall fall down slain in the land of the Chaldeans, and thrust through in her streets. For Israel is not forsaken, nor Judah, of his God, of Yahweh of armies, though their land is full of guilt against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, and save every man his life, don't be cut off in her iniquity, for it is the time of Yahweh's vengeance, he will render to her a recompense. Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand, who made all the earth drunken, the nations have drunk of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed, wail for her, take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed, forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reaches to heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Yahweh has brought forth our righteousness, come, and let us declare in Zion the work of Yahweh our God. Make sharp the arrows, hold firm the shields, Yahweh has stirred up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, because his purpose is against Babylon, to destroy it, for it is the vengeance of Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. Set up a standard against the walls of Babylon, make the watch strong, set the watchmen, prepare the ambushes, for Yahweh has both purposed and done at which he spoke concerning the inhabitants of Babylon. You who dwell on many waters, abundant in treasures, your end has come, the measure of your covetousness. Yahweh of armies has sworn by himself, saying, Surely I will fill you with men, as with the canker worm, and they shall lift up a shout against you. He has made the earth by his power, he has established the world by his wisdom, and by his understanding has he stretched out the heavens. When he utters his voice, there is a tumult of waters in the heavens. And he causes the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth, he makes lightning for the rain, and brings forth the wind out of his treasuries. Every man is become brutish and is without knowledge, every goldsmith is disappointed by his image, for his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in him. They are vanity, a work of delusion, in the time of their visitation they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like these, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the tribe of his inheritance, Yahweh of armies is his name. You are my battle axe and weapons of war, and with you will I break in pieces the nations, and with you will I destroy kingdoms, and with you will I break in pieces the horse and his rider. And with you will I break in pieces the chariot and him who rides therein, and with you will I break in pieces man and woman, and with you will I break in pieces the old man and the youth. And with you will I break in pieces the young man and the virgin, and with you will I break in pieces the shepherd and his flock, and with you will I break in pieces the farmer and his yoke of oxen. And with you will I break in pieces governors and deputies. I will render to Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, says Yahweh. Behold, I am against you, destroying mountain, says Yahweh, which destroys all the earth, and I will stretch out my hand on you, and roll you down from the rocks, and will make you a burnt mountain. They shall not take of you a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, but you shall be desolate forever, says Yahweh. Set up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Minni, and Ashkenaz, appoint a marshal against her, cause the horses to come up as the rough canker worm. Prepare against her the nations, the kings of the Medes, its governors, and all its deputies, and all the land of their dominion. The land trembles and is in pain, for the purposes of Yahweh against Babylon do stand, to make the land of Babylon a desolation, without inhabitant. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight, they remain in their strongholds, their might has failed, they are become as women, her dwelling places are set on fire, her bars are broken. One runner will run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that his city is taken on every quarter, and the passages are seized, and the reeds they have burned with fire. And the men of war are frightened. For thus says Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor at the time when it is trodden, yet a little while, and the time of harvest shall come for her. Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon has devoured me, he has crushed me, he has made me an empty vessel, he has, like a monster, swallowed me up, he has filled his maw with my delicacies, he has cast me out. The violence done to me and to my flesh beyond Babylon, shall the inhabitant of Zion say, and my blood be on the inhabitants of Chaldea, shall Jerusalem say. Therefore thus says Yahweh, behold, I will plead your cause, and take vengeance for you, and I will dry up her sea, and make her fountain dry. Babylon shall become heaps, a dwelling place for jackals, an astonishment, and a hissing, without inhabitant. They shall roar together like young lions, they shall growl as lions' cubs. When they are heated, I will make their feast, and I will make them drunken, that they may rejoice, and sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake, says Yahweh. I will bring them down like lambs to the slaughter, like rams with male goats. How is Sheshach taken, and the praise of the whole earth seized? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? The sea is come upon Babylon, she is covered with the multitude of its waves. Her cities have become a desolation, a dry land, and a desert, a land in which no man dwells, neither does any son of man pass thereby. I will execute judgment on Bel in Babylon, and I will bring forth out of his mouth that which he has swallowed up, and the nations shall not flow any more to him, yes, the wall of Babylon shall fall. My people, go away from the midst of her, and save yourselves every man from the fierce anger of Yahweh. Don't let your heart faint, neither fear for the news that shall be heard in the land, for news shall come 1 year, and after that in another year shall come news, and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. Therefore, behold, the days come, that I will execute judgment on the engraved images of Babylon, and her whole land shall be confounded, and all her slain shall fall in the midst of her. Then the heavens and the earth, and all that is therein, shall sing for joy over Babylon, for the destroyers shall come to her from the north, says Yahweh. As Babylon has caused the slain of Israel to fall, so at Babylon shall fall the slain of all the land. You have escaped the sword, go, don't stand still, remember Yahweh from afar, and let Jerusalem come into your mind. We are confounded, because we have heard reproach, confusion has covered our faces, for strangers are come into the sanctuaries of Yahweh's house. Therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will execute judgment on her engraved images, and through all her land the wounded shall groan. Though Babylon should mount up to the sky, and though she should fortify the height of her strength, yet from me shall destroyers come to her, says Yahweh. The sound of a cry from Babylon, and of great destruction from the land of the Chaldeans. For Yahweh lays Babylon waste, and destroys out of her the great voice, and their waves roar like many waters, the noise of their voice is uttered, for the destroyer is come on her, even on Babylon, and her mighty men are taken. Their bows are broken in pieces, for Yahweh is a God of recompenses, he will surely requite. I will make drunk her princes and her wise men, her governors and her deputies, and her mighty men, and they shall sleep a perpetual sleep, and not wake up, says the King, whose name is Yahweh of armies. Thus says Yahweh of armies, the broad walls of Babylon shall be utterly overthrown, and her high gates shall be burned with fire, and the peoples shall labor for vanity, and the nations for the fire, and they shall be weary. The word which Jeremiah the prophet commanded Seraiah the son of Neriah, the son of Maaseiah, when he went with Zedekiah the king of Judah to Babylon in the 4th year of his reign. Now Seraiah was chief quartermaster. Jeremiah wrote in a book called The Evil That Should Come on Babylon, even all these words that are written concerning Babylon. Jeremiah said to Seraiah, when you come to Babylon, then see that you read all these words, and say, Yahweh, you have spoken concerning this place, to cut it off, that none shall dwell therein, neither man nor animal. But that it shall be desolate forever. It shall be, when you have made an end of reading this book, that you shall bind a stone to it, and cast it into the midst of the Euphrates, and you shall say, thus shall Babylon sink, and shall not rise again because of the evil that I will bring on her, and they shall be weary. Thus far are the words of Jeremiah. Chapter 52, edit. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Hamutal the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. He did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that Jehoiakim had done. For through the anger of Yahweh did it happen in Jerusalem and Judah, until he had cast him out from his presence. Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. It happened in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon came, he and all his army, against Jerusalem, and encamped against it, and they built forts against it round about. So the city was besieged to the 11th year of King Zedekiah. In the 4th month, in the 9th day of the month, the famine was sore in the city, so that there was no bread for the people of the land. Then a breach was made in the city, and all the men of war fled, and went forth out of the city by night by the way of the gate between the 2 walls, which was by the king's garden. Now the Chaldeans were against the city all around Winking Face, and they went toward the Arabah. But the army of the Chaldeans pursued after the king, and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho, and all his army was scattered from him. Then they took the king, and carried him up to the king of Babylon to Riblah in the land of Hamath, and he gave judgment on him. The king of Babylon killed the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes. He killed also all the princes of Judah in Riblah. He put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and the king of Babylon bound him in fetters, and carried him to Babylon, and put him in prison until the day of his death. Now in the 5th month, in the 10th day of the month, which was the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, who stood before the king of Babylon, into Jerusalem. And he burned the house of Yahweh, and the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, even every great house, burned he with fire. All the army of the Chaldeans, who were with the captain of the guard, broke down all the walls of Jerusalem all around. Then Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard carried away captive of the poorest of the people, and the residue of the people who were left in the city, and those who fell away, who fell to the king of Babylon, and the residue of the multitude. But Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard left of the poorest of the land to be vineyard keepers and farmers. The pillars of brass that were in the house of Yahweh, and the bases and the bronze sea that were in the house of Yahweh, did the Chaldeans break in pieces, and carried all the brass of them to Babylon. The pots also, and the shovels, and the snuffers, and the basins, and the spoons, and all the vessels of brass with which they ministered, took they away. The cups, and the fire pans, and the basins, and the pots, and the lampstands, and the spoons, and the bowls, that which was of gold, in gold, and that which was of silver, in silver, the captain of the guard took away. The 2 pillars, the 1 sea, and the 12 bronze balls that were under the bases, which King Solomon had made for the house of Yahweh. The brass of all these vessels was without weight. As for the pillars, the height of the 1 pillar was 18 cubits, and a line of 12 cubits did compass it, and its thickness was 4 fingers, it was hollow. A capital of brass was on it, and the height of the 1 capital was 5 cubits, with network and pomegranates on the capital all around, all of brass, and the 2nd pillar also had like these, and pomegranates. There were 96 pomegranates on the sides, all the pomegranates were 100 on the network all around. The captain of the guard took Seraiah the chief priest, and Zephaniah the 2nd priest, and the 3 keepers of the threshold, and out of the city he took an officer who was set over the men of war. And 7 men of those who saw the king's face, who were found in the city, and the scribe of the captain of the army, who mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land, who were found in the midst of the city. Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard took them, and brought them to the king of Babylon to Riblah. The king of Babylon struck them, and put them to death at Riblah in the land of Hamath. So Judah was carried away captive out of his land. This is the people whom Nebuchadnezzar carried away captive. In the 7th year 3023 Jews. In the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar he carried away captive from Jerusalem 832 persons. In the 23rd year of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuzaradan the captain of the guard carried away captive of the Jews 745 persons, all the persons were 4,600. It happened in the 37th year of the captivity of Jehoiachin king of Judah, in the 12th month, in the 25th day of the month, that evil Merodach king of Babylon, in the 1st year of his reign, lifted up the head of Jehoiachin king of Judah, and brought him forth out of prison, and he spoke kindly to him, and set his throne above the throne of the kings who were with him in Babylon, and changed his prison garments. Jehoiachin ate bread before him continually all the days of his life, and for his allowance, there was a continual allowance given him by the king of Babylon, every day